Chapter 1332. As soon as he said that, a man and a woman landed in front of Ning Cheng and Feng Huangmei. The onlookers in the distance subconsciously took a few steps back. The man looked extremely young, and his long flaxen hair was tied into a starry sky cultivator's bun. Although his face was expressionless, it could not hide his handsome appearance. Ning Cheng could not help but praise him in his heart. This guy could make a living with his face. He did not need to cultivate at all. In fact, this guy's realm was very high and far stronger than his. He was already at the early stage integration realm. The Tao runes around him were condensed and integrated without any abruptness. The woman was tall and beautiful. Her skin was like jade, as if it would be broken by a gust of wind. The only thing that made Ning Cheng uncomfortable was her eyes, which had a hint of ruthlessness. The woman's cultivation level was slightly weaker than the man's, so Ning Cheng estimated that she should be at the late-stage creation realm. Heavens beyond prohibits fighting and seeking revenge. Don't you know about this? Feng Huangmei should have said that, but Ning Cheng had to say it on his behalf in the face of such an expert. The man said faintly, "I know, but I want to kill them. What can you do to me?" Ning Cheng smiled slightly. If the other party had not killed the Mao family but another family, he would definitely have helped Feng Huangmei. However, the two of them had destroyed the Mao family. Although the Mao family had been very restrained in Heavens Beyond in recent years, the Mao family's hands had been filled with blood. Now that the Mao family had been destroyed, he was not in the mood to step forward. Feng Huangmei knew that there was a rift between Ning Cheng and the Mao family. So Ning Cheng smiled and did not speak. He took the initiative to step forward and said, "Heavens Beyond prohibits fighting. Please leave Heavens Beyond immediately." Since Mao Tianqi was not around and the Mao family had been destroyed, Feng Huangmei naturally would not stand up for the Mao family. The handsome man laughed. "Heavens Beyond has been famous recently, but it seems like it's nothing much. You must be Heavenly Lord Feng Huangmei. Sorry, I can't leave yet. Maybe I haven't killed enough people." Not only did Feng Huangmei look at Ning Cheng, but the surrounding cultivators also looked at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng and the Sacred Tao Sect Master had joined forces to kill the Heavenly Gate Realm expert, who had admitted defeat and fled. They had even gone to the Seven Aqua Realm to destroy the Seven Aqua Duan clan. Facing the challenge of these two people, there would definitely be a huge battle later. Ning Cheng did not speak, he was already ready to start. He didn't care that the two of them had killed the Mao family. However, if he killed another person who wasn't from the Mao family, he would immediately take action. Heaven Beyond of Heaven was calm on the surface because it was suppressed by him and Yemo. If he allowed the two of them to kill people here, the realm beyond Avalon would soon return to its original state. After the handsome-looking man finished his words, his gaze fell on Ning Cheng. Apparently, he could see that Ning Cheng's prestige seemed to be higher than Feng Huangmei's. Seeing that Ning Cheng did not speak, he was about to ridicule Ning Cheng again when his face suddenly changed, and his figure turned into a shadow and disappeared. Seeing the man leave, the woman also followed behind him. "I know why they're here." Huang Feng frowned as he watched the two disappear into the distance. "Why?" Ning Cheng asked in doubt. Feng Huangmei said in a serious tone, "They're probably here for the karma cultivation method that the Mao family stole. The Mao family once killed the entire family of a primordial essence divine emperor, here to steal the 12 words mantra in the karma cultivation method. After the primordial essence divine emperor died, Heaven Beyond of Heaven became a land of karma resentment. These two people are going to the land of karma resentment." Speaking of this, Feng Huangmei seemed to have thought of something and looked at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng understood what Feng Huangmei meant. The real owner of the 12 words mantra he had taken from the Mao family had arrived. Since this man and woman had come for the 12 syllables of the karma cultivation method, they would definitely find him. "In that case, let's go take a look." Ning Cheng smiled faintly. He wasn't afraid that the two of them would attack him. As for the 12 words mantra, if they were kind enough to trade with him, he could wait for an E to finish cultivating and then trade it. If they wanted to take it by force, haha, then I'm sorry. He had obtained the 12 words mantra from the Mao family as compensation, so he wouldn't casually give it to others. There really is a land of karma resentment here. And there's also the Tao rune aura of the karma cultivation method. The handsome man stared at the barren land in front of him and said coldly. The woman sighed softly. Sun Fuchuan was indeed killed here. That person didn't lie to us. But we killed the entire Mao family, but we didn't find what we needed. The man took a deep breath and said in a gloomy tone. Brother Tianteng, don't worry. I said that I would help you find the 12 words mantra, so I naturally won't go back on my word. As the voice fell, a red-haired young man suddenly appeared and walked out. Taoist use clone technique is really powerful. Even I didn't notice it. When the handsome man saw the red-haired young man, his face finally revealed a trace of a smile that couldn't even be seen. He wasn't flattering him, but the clone technique's teleportation divine ability was really strange. He really couldn't detect it before there was no killing intent. The woman also asked from the side, Does Taoist you really know where the 12 words mantra is? The red-haired young man smiled and suddenly pointed to Ning Cheng, who had just arrived, and said, The 12 words mantra is with him. This person is called Ning Cheng, and he's very strong. Ning Cheng also saw the red-haired man. At this moment, he understood what the problem was. This red-haired man cultivated several clones. Although his cultivation wasn't high, he had a peerless escape method. This fellow probably knew that he couldn't take away the great formless cultivation method from him, so he found someone to look for the 12 words mantra in disguise. He wanted to obtain the great formless cultivation method through this method. This monarch is Qingwu Tianteng. The 12 words mantra is something from my sect. Sun Fuchuan and I are from the same sect. He took away the 12 words mantra, but it was snatched away by the Mao family. Now that I've killed the Mao family, since the 12 words mantra is with you, then leave it to me. The handsome man didn't even cup his fists. Instead, he stared at Ning Cheng and spoke in an indifferent tone. As he spoke, a powerful Dao charm aura spread out and almost materialized. It seemed to completely lock the surrounding space. For him, Ning Cheng handed over the 12 words mantra without any conditions. It was a matter of course. Ning Cheng didn't care about this Qingwu Tianteng at all. He had killed a peak realm integration expert before. So what if Qingwu Tianteng was as strong as Feng Xian? His gaze fell on the red-haired young man, and he spoke in a calm tone. You're really willing to spend a lot of money to snatch the great formless cultivation method. You even found someone to help you. I originally planned to let you pay some spirit crystals, and then sell it to you. But now get the hell out of here. Your clones, apart from escaping, really don't put this Ning in my eyes. You knew that he wasn't Ning Cheng's opponent. Therefore, in the face of Ning Cheng's sarcasm, he simply didn't say a word. Qingwu Tianteng's expression changed. This Ning Cheng was just a Dao integration expert, yet he dared to ignore his words. Was defeating a creation realm expert at the Dao integration realm amazing? When he had reached Dao integration, he could also easily kill a creation realm expert. Did those people from the false realm deserve to be called third-step experts? Qingwu Tianteng moved his hand, and 2 purple symbols floated above his head. The Dao charm around him seemed to control this space. Now that a pair of purple symbols appeared, it made people feel even more oppressive. It was as if once this pair of purple symbols closed, anything in the middle of the symbols would be squeezed into pieces. Feng Huangmei closed the false realm. He couldn't bear this terrifying spatial pressure, and involuntarily took a few steps back. When the woman saw the man make his move, a quaint black broken lamp appeared in her palm. As soon as this lamp appeared, the space controlled by the man seemed to have gained a new law, which made it more stable. Ning Cheng knew that this battle was inevitable. Since the other party wanted to snatch it, then let them come. He opened his hand, and the creation divine spear fell into his palm from behind. Qingwu Tianteng didn't care about the creation divine spear on Ning Cheng's back. Now that Ning Cheng took out the creation divine spear, he realized that it was just a high-grade divine weapon. A puny Dao integration expert could only be arrogant in front of those false realms, even if he had fused with the truth Dao. He wasn't qualified to be arrogant in front of Qingwu Tianteng. The purple symbols carried endless nomological Dao charm, which almost squeezed this space into pieces. Ning Cheng was in the center of this space. Feng Huangmei, who was in the distance, wanted to come forward and help, but unfortunately, he found that although they were both creation realm powerhouses, His strength was too weak compared to that woman's. The woman held a black lamp in her hand. Even though she didn't make a move, she gave him a vast and boundless feeling. The spatial law locked by the purple symbols began to change. Although it hadn't been squeezed into pieces, it was no longer the original heaven-earth law. A faint mocking smile appeared on Qing Wu Tianting's face. An early-stage Dao integration cultivator dared to attack him? He didn't know if he could use nomological divine powers in his purple symbol's space. The wave-like mutated spatial law swept over. Ningqing instantly knew that Feng Huangmei was right. The other party was far stronger than Tu Lianyu, who was at the late-stage integration realm. However, there was still a gap between him and Feng Xian. He was sure that this person had fused the same realm as Feng Xian. It shouldn't be a false realm. However, his realm wasn't as high as Feng Xian's, so his cultivation level wasn't as high as Feng Xian's. At that moment, the spear pattern law of the creation divine spear also changed abruptly. It completely ignored the mutated laws in Qing Wu Tianteng's purple symbol space, and transformed into a new law that condensed into an ice-sealed space. This ice-sealed space directly blocked the powerful Dao charm aura of the purple symbols. The two different nomological spaces collided, and the Dao charm overflowed, rolling up wave after wave of violent waves. Ningqing took advantage of the gap between the spatial collisions to blast out a finger. Ningqing didn't want to tangle with Qing Wu Tianteng at all. It was best to end this quickly. Qing Wu Tianteng felt the powerful nomological aura of Ningqing's ice-sealed space, and was slightly stunned. He hadn't used a killing move because he was worried that he wouldn't know the whereabouts of the 12 syllables after killing Ningqing. However, he hadn't expected that the other party's strength would be far beyond his estimation. An early-stage Dao integration expert could fight against an early-stage realm integration expert. What kind of Dao was this? Chapter 1333. Qing Wu Tianting didn't have time to think about these things. At this moment he felt even more shocked. Ningqing's finger shot out and directly shattered Qing Wu Tianting's spatial domain. Even the spatial laws controlled by Zisu's Dao charm began to crack. The laws of heaven and earth weakened without limit, whether it was the original laws or the laws under the purple symbol space. Qing Wu Tianting felt fear in his heart. Facing this finger, he saw heaven and earth dying. Everything would perish under this finger, and he had no way to resist the power of this finger. Ever since he started cultivating, he had never felt this way, not even when facing a convergence realm powerhouse. He forcibly turned the purple symbol back and replaced the shattered protective domain. Boom! The majestic and violent aura instantly blasted the middle of the purple symbol, which had yet to completely close. The purple symbol flew up, and the already weak laws shattered even more. Kachapoof! Blood splattered. Ningqing stood in place without moving, while Qing Wu Tianting was blasted away by Ningqing's finger. The Dao charm around him scattered, and his entire body became dispirited. The woman who had been watching the battle from the side rushed over immediately, but she couldn't stop Qing Wu Tianting from getting injured. Ying, stop. You're not his opponent. Qing Wu Tianting immediately stopped the woman who was about to bring out the black lantern. Ningqing felt a sense of weakness. He hadn't swallowed the quintessential essence of the universe. With this finger, he believed that Qing Wu Tianting wouldn't be as arrogant as before. Although he didn't like this fellow, he didn't even think about killing Qing Wu Tianting. If Qing Wu Tianting and this woman both cultivated the great Dao, it meant that they had extraordinary origins. He didn't have much hatred with Qing Wu Tianting, so why would he want to make such a big enemy? What's more, from a certain point of view, Qing Wu Tianting had helped Jiang Man destroy the Mao clan. If he really wanted to kill Qing Wu Tianting, he wouldn't have brought out the order-breaking finger so early. Even if he wanted to bring out the order-breaking finger, he would have used other means to restrain the other party, and then killed them in one blow. He wouldn't have injured the other party like this. When the woman heard Qing Wu Tianting's words, she quickly stopped attacking Ningqing and rushed to Qing Wu Tianting's side. Big brother Tianting. Ningqing didn't care about the two. His gaze fell on the place where Yu had just stood, but Yu had already disappeared. It had to be said that this fellow who cultivated clones had first-rate means of escaping. Qing Wu Tianting also saw Yu disappear. He knew that he had been used by that red-haired ant. Dao Friend Ning's strength is truly something that I have never seen before in my life. Qing Wu Tianteng changed his previous strong attitude and cupped his fists towards Ningcheng. When he came to Heavens Beyond, he had heard that there were 2 experts who had joined forces to defeat more than a dozen third-step experts. One of them was called Ningcheng, and the other was Divine Dao sect leader Yemo. At this moment, the sacred Dao sect master had yet to appear, but Ningcheng's finger easily injured him. One could imagine that once the sect master of the sacred Dao sect came out, the 2 of them would not be able to leave the sky beyond heaven alive. Previously, because he knew that the creation realm experts here were all fake worlds, even if he had heard of such things, he did not care. Now he was really a little afraid. Fellow Taoist Ning, the 12-word mantra truly belongs to my sect. When Sun Fuquan stole the 12 syllables mantra, my master had always been depressed. A few years ago, my master left Chongting Mountain and disappeared without a trace. This time, my martial sister Ying and I came out to find the 12 syllables mantra. If Dao Friend Ning can return the 12 syllables mantra to me, I, Qing Wu Tianteng, am willing to pay any price. Even Ningcheng admired Qing Wu Tianteng's change. Qing Wu Tianteng was extremely helpless. He knew that he could forget about the Great Formless Method. When Ningcheng spoke about the Great Formless Method, he looked calm on the surface but his heart was surging. Yu, a Dao integration cultivator, dared to ask for the Great Formless Method? His original plan was to capture Ningcheng and force out the Great Formless Method and the 12 syllables mantra. Ningcheng said plainly, the 12 syllables mantra is something that others gave me as compensation. If you want the 12 syllables mantra, you have to give me something that satisfies me. By the way, I'm in urgent need of the soul-gathering immortal lotus. If you can take it out, I can carve a copy of the 12 syllables mantra for you. Of course, if you have Heng Yang, I can consider it. Ningcheng didn't like Qing Wu Tianteng's character at all. At this time, he had no intention of handing over the 12 syllables mantra. If the other party could find the soul-gathering immortal lotus, he could carve a copy. Moreover, Ningcheng had some doubts about Qing Wu Tianteng's words. The 12 syllables mantra should have been kept by Qing Wu Tianteng's master. Since he could be Qing Wu Tianteng's master, there was no doubt about his strength. Sun Fuquan, who had been killed by the Mao family, had only been a late-stage primordial chaos cultivator. How could a primordial chaos sacred emperor steal the 12 syllables mantra from Qing Wu Tianteng's master? This was simply a joke. After saying that, Ningcheng could not be bothered with Qing Wu Tianteng. Instead, he told Feng Huangmei, Sky Lord Feng, how much damage has this person done in heavens beyond of heaven and earth? Ask him to pay double. The Mao family had killed an entire family to snatch the 12 syllables mantra back then. Ningcheng did not intend to use the Mao family's revenge to speak. As for the Chongtingshan that Qing Wu Tianteng had mentioned, he had never heard of it. Qing Wu Tianteng had caused so much damage in heavens beyond, so he naturally had to pay for it. Qing Wu Tianteng opened his mouth, but didn't dare to refute. Feng Huangmei smiled and told Ningcheng, Brother Ning, you can go back. I can be here. Before Feng Huangmei could finish his sentence, the defense array of the beyond of heaven and earth trembled. He stopped himself in time and looked at Ningcheng. Ever since Ningcheng and Yi Mo joined forces to repel the Heaven Gate realm powerhouses, no one dared to believe that someone would dare to attack the defense formation of heavens beyond. However, the reality was that someone was attacking the defense formation of heavens beyond. Joy flashed in Qing Wu Tianteng's eyes. He had overestimated his strength and underestimated the power of heavens beyond. Just when he had been at his wit's end, someone had given him such a big pillow. How could anyone who dared attack the defense array of heavens beyond be weak? Once this person and Ningcheng went head-to-head, he would definitely intervene. By the time Ningcheng and Feng Huangmei hurried to the heavens beyond square, it was already crowded with people. Both of them saw an acquaintance, Li Man. Apart from Li Man, Ningcheng also saw another acquaintance, Zhong Wuchen. The Dao runes around Li Man had dissipated. It was obvious that her foundation had been injured. Zhong Wuchen had actually succeeded in merging the realms. However, the Dao runes around him had also dissipated. His injuries were no lighter than Li Man's. Taoist Ning, you're really fine. That's great. Zhong Wuchen said in pleasant surprise when he saw Ning Cheng. Boom. Another bombardment came from outside the Heavens Beyond's defense array, causing the entire Heavens Beyond's defense array to shake. Based on the intensity of the attack, everyone knew that the person who had come was at least a realm integration expert. Heaven Lord Feng, save me. Li Man looked terrified when she saw Feng Huangmei. She was far less surprised than Zhong Wuchen. Feng Huangmei hurriedly said, Taoist Li, don't worry. You closed the defense array of Heavens Beyond just now, right? The Heavens Beyond of Heaven and Earth had yet to be divided. Every world creation expert in the Heavens Beyond of Heaven and Earth could close the defense array individually. Evidently, after Li Man and Zhong Wuchen had escaped to Heavens Beyond, she had closed the defense array immediately. Li Man finally calmed down and nodded at Feng Huangmei. Then she said to Ning Cheng with cupped fists, Greetings, Taoist Ning. Taoist Ning's cultivation technique is extraordinary, and Li Man admires you very much. She had seen Ning Cheng's strength outside the divine tomb of heaven and earth. Now that she saw Ning Cheng appear here safe and sound, and had even succeeded in Tao integration, she naturally admired him. As for the third step experts from the other realms, she had not noticed them yet because their Tao runes had dissipated. Ning Cheng also guessed that Li Man and Zhong Wuchen must have experienced something since they had escaped from the Jiaoliang mountain. Furthermore, they had not returned using the normal route. Boom. The defense array of Heavens Beyond roared again. Ning Cheng told Feng Huangmei, Heaven Lord Feng, open the defense array and put this person on the Heavens Beyond square. All right. Feng Huangmei was very confident in Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's strength was definitely more valiant than an ordinary realm integration expert's. When the defense array opened, a short figure that was only more than 1 meter tall landed on the Heavens Beyond square. The short man's gaze swept across the surroundings before landing on Zhong Wuchen. Chuckling, he said, Brat, I'll settle the score with you later for not keeping your promise. Now tell me, where is the 7 bridges innate technique? Who is it? Ning Cheng instantly understood that the reason Zhong Wuchen had been able to return was due to this short man. Sure enough, Zhong Wuchen bowed to Ning Cheng apologetically and said, Brother Ning, I'm sorry. Previously, I succeeded in the creation realm in Heavens Beyond, and casually took out the first bridge of coping. I didn't expect to alarm this person. He forced me to tell him about the 7 bridges divine art, so I could only. Ning Cheng waved his hand, and his gaze landed on the short man. The short man's facial features were regular, and his hair was messy like straw. He looked like he was only at the creation realm. But his powerful Tao runes seemed to be even more powerful than Feng Xian's. He was indeed worthy of being a guy from the divine tomb of heaven and earth. Ning Cheng recalled what the person who had traded with him in the void of the slaughter realm in the divine tomb of God's Mount had said. Not everyone with a good fortune treasure was the strongest. Some people without a good fortune treasure could also dominate the universe, and wouldn't be weaker than anyone else. If Xingxi, who had chased him before, had been at the creation realm, then this short man's creation realm strength could only be compared to Xingxi's. The 7 bridges divine art is with you? Then you should have the 7 bridges realm book, right? Take it out and let this king have a look. The short man landed in front of Ning Cheng in one step. A creation realm expert calling himself a king was definitely a disgrace to his identity. Ning Cheng looked at the short man and said calmly, Who are you? Since you know that the 7 bridges divine art is mine, why should I show it to you? Why don't you show me your divine art? The short man frowned suddenly before nodding and saying, You're right. I have many divine arts. Which one do you want to see? Chapter 1334. Ning Cheng felt startled. He had thought that the experts who came from places like the Jiaoliang Mountain's heaven and earth deity tomb would have eyes growing on their foreheads. They always spoke and acted like they were the best in the world, so why did this shorty look a little different? What spirit techniques do you have? Ning Cheng asked casually. The short man smiled. Mountain Breaker, Dark Light Domain Killer, Void Crack. There are too many. This king can't even count them. Hearing the short man list more than a dozen spirit techniques in one breath, Ning Cheng shook his head and said, There are many, but unfortunately, These spirit techniques are not as powerful as my 7 bridges. The short man stared at him. Not as powerful as your 7 bridges? Why don't we compare? You can use your 7 bridges, and this king will use ordinary spirit techniques. Let's see if he can't beat the crap out of you. Ningcheng felt sure that this shorty wasn't pretending to be mysterious, but was a real person. Rather, he was an expert with low EQ or disdained EQ. I'm Ningcheng. How should I address this Dao friend? Ningcheng's tone softened. To deal with such a person, there was no need to fight head-on. This king is Xiao Xinqi. This king hates being long-winded. Bring out your 7 bridges and let this king see how it goes. This king will also let you see how powerful this king's spirit techniques are. Xiao Xinqi spoke with some impatience. Ningcheng spoke up. Is your spirit technique powerful? Or is your cultivation powerful? Do you want a person who has just started cultivating to use the 7 Bridges Realm book to fight against your wind blades? Do you think your wind blades are stronger than the 7 bridges? Xiao Xinqi frowned and hesitated for a while before speaking. You're right, this king is bullying the weak. By the way, this king also knows the disaster technique. Speaking of the disaster technique, Xiao Xinqi laughed and said with a radiant face, you should know about the disaster technique. It's a branch of the destiny cultivation method. The destiny cultivation method is far more powerful than your 7 bridges, this king. Ningcheng wondered if Xiao Xinqi knew the destiny cultivation method, so he should have thought of it first. How could he only think of the destiny cultivation method when there was no other way? But at this time, Xiao Xinqi's boasting stopped. The destiny cultivation method is indeed more powerful than my 7 bridges. Why don't you continue? Did you lie to me? Ningcheng's face sank as he spoke. Xiao Xinqi rubbed her hair in distress. Ningcheng knew that there was something wrong with this situation. Looking at the many onlookers around them, Ningcheng simply smiled and spoke. Dao friend Xiao, why don't you come to my immortal cave as a guest, and we can sit down and talk about it slowly, what do you think? Yes, we should sit down and talk about it slowly. Xiao Xinqi thought of such a good idea for Ningcheng, and immediately praised him with joy. Ningcheng felt relieved in his heart. Xiao Xinqi should not be scheming against him. This kind of person was the purest. Later on, when he went to his cave abode, he wanted to understand the situation of Jiaoliang Mountain from Xiao Xinqi. After the competition in the Beyond of Heaven and Earth, he would go to the Jiaoliang Mountain sooner or later. Ningcheng had a vague feeling that only the Jiaoliang Mountain could allow him to set foot on the highest peak. Moreover, it was entirely possible to rope in an expert like Xiao Xinqi. Qing Wu Tianting, who was watching from afar, was extremely disappointed. He did not expect that the defense array, which was attacking the heavens beyond, would not fight with Ningcheng. Moreover, this person seemed to be a straightforward person. When he met someone like Ningcheng, he would definitely hand over the art of disaster. Not only Qing Wu Tianting, but the experts from the other realms also had a small score in their hearts. An expert who knew the art of destiny had come here. And this person was a person who could not hide anything from them. At this moment, everyone wanted to invite Xiao Xinqi over and ask him slowly. Dao friend Xiao, I'm Yuan from the 3 Elements realm. Dao friend Xiao's skills are unparalleled. If you are free, the 3 Elements realm is willing to treat you as a distinguished guest. Dao friend Xiao, I'm Liao Qianluo from the 9 Heavens realm. Dao friend Xiao. King Xiao, I heard that the Jiaoliang Mountain is a place where experts, Xiao Xinqi, who had been staring at Ningcheng, heard someone call him King Xiao. Her eyes immediately lit up. She did not even wait for the other party to finish speaking before she interrupted him and said, Yes, you're right. The Jiaoliang Mountain is full of experts. What's your name? After this king and Ningcheng talk about the important matters, I'll come to find you. This little girl is Tang Songyin, but I'm just a nobody. It's truly fortunate for me to gain the favor of the king. This is this little girl's communication pearl. Tang Songyin smiled softly while handing her communication pearl to Xiao Xinqi. The surrounding people felt that they had miscalculated. It turned out that this shorty liked people to call him king. Unfortunately, he had already left with Ningcheng. Even if they wanted to call him king, it was too late. Everyone admired Tang Songyin, and even envied this woman. How could the harvest not be good if one got to know an ancient expert like Xiao Xinqi? After Ningcheng and Xiao Xinqi left, Zhong Wuchen also followed Ningcheng. Li Man did not follow but changed direction and quickly disappeared. Your residence is not bad. This place is much better than that broken place in the heaven and earth deity's grave mound. Xiao Xinqi praised as soon as she arrived at Ningcheng's residence. The heaven and earth deity's grave mound is a place where experts gather. How can a small place like mine compare to it? Ningcheng said while bringing Xiao Xinqi and Zhong Wuchen to the guest hall. Ali had already come over and poured a cup of divine spirit tea for the two of them. Ningcheng, you called this king here. Don't tell me that you want this king to teach you all the spirit powers just like those people who greeted this king just now, right? This king will say this first. We are exchanging equal value. Don't think about taking this king's spirit powers for free. Xiao Xinqi spoke before the divine spirit tea even entered her mouth. Ningcheng almost spat out the tea in his mouth. He had always thought that Xiao Xinqi was a straightforward person who would not think too deeply about many things. He did not expect that she was blind to eat glutinous rice balls and already knew what she was doing. Of course not. I would like to ask Daoist Xiao, why did you chase after Daoist Zhong and Daoist Li, and even attack the defense array of my heavens beyond? Ningcheng saw that Xiao Xinqi understood everything, so he simply went straight to the point. Xiao Xinqi glared at Zhong Wuchen. This guy is not trustworthy. If it weren't for this king, he would have been killed by that axe line. And that woman. This king knew that she was not a good person. Zhong Wuchen quickly apologized, and then gave a simple explanation to Ningcheng. It turned out that after Zhong Wuchen entered the creation realm, he and Li Man discovered that they could not go out of the Jiaoliang Sea. The two of them could only join forces to continue looking for opportunities in the divine tomb of heaven and earth, and prepare to cultivate to a higher realm before going out. Coincidentally, Li Man and Zhong Wuchen had barged into a forbidden area. In this forbidden area, Zhong Wuchen used the bridge of helplessness to awaken Xiao Xinqi, who was recovering. When Xiao Xinqi came out, Zhong Wuchen and Li Man were facing death. Later, Zhong Wuchen promised to bring Xiao Xinqi to find the owner of the Seven Bridges Realm book. Xiao Xinqi took Zhong Wuchen and Li Man out of the Jiaoliang mountain and tore the void to arrive at heavens beyond. Li Man knew that Ningcheng was powerful and guessed that Ningcheng would not take out the Seven Bridges Realm book. Therefore, as soon as the two of them arrived at heavens beyond, Li Man sealed the defense array. After hearing Zhong Wuchen's words, Ningcheng had a better impression of Xiao Xinqi. However, having a good impression did not mean that he would pass on the Seven Bridges divine technique. Daoist Xiao, you also know how precious the Seven Bridges divine technique is. Among the divine techniques you mentioned before, only the destiny cultivation technique's disaster technique can barely exchange with my Seven Bridges divine technique. However, I saw that Daoist Xiao seemed to have something difficult to say. Now that there were no bystanders here, Ningcheng asked again. Xiao Xinqi felt even more distressed. He did not want to give up the Seven Bridges divine technique. He hesitated for a long time for the second time before saying hesitantly, the Great Disaster technique was imparted by Tao Lord Fate. It's a branch of the destiny cultivation technique. When Tao Lord Fate imparted it to me, I promised that I wouldn't casually impart it to others or use it casually. Therefore, it was a slip of the tongue. In addition to the Great Disaster technique, I have many other divine techniques. You can choose whatever you want. This time, Xiao Xinqi did not address himself as this king. It seemed that he respected Tao Lord Fate very much. Ningcheng waved his hand and said, I'm not so eager for divine techniques. I'll ask you a few questions. In the vast universe, there are countless cultivators. I once heard that only those with a good fortune cultivation technique can set foot on the peak, control the universe, and step into the gate of good fortune. When Xiao Xinqi heard that Ningcheng did not ask about his destiny cultivation technique, he immediately perked up. You're right and wrong at the same time. In fact, those with a good fortune cultivation technique must have a good fortune treasure. From a certain point of view, you're already at a disadvantage. A true powerhouse does not necessarily have a good fortune treasure, such as Tao Lord Fate. She doesn't have a good fortune treasure, and her cultivation technique is derived from herself. In the Great War of the past, she killed those who had good fortune treasures. However, the owner of a good fortune treasure can immediately sense the good fortune realm and touch the gate of good fortune. Therefore, in this world, good fortune treasures are still something that countless people covet. Is Tao Lord Fate the only one who knows the destiny cultivation technique? The destiny cultivation technique is Tao Lord Fate's origin cultivation technique. She once taught it to many people, and I was fortunate enough to be taught the great disaster technique. Indeed, only Tao Lord Fate knows the true destiny cultivation technique. Then Tao Friend Xiao. Was the good fortune war caused by good fortune realm powerhouses? What's the specific reason? Ning Chung suppressed his excitement and asked about the thing he wanted to know the most. The good fortune war destroyed almost every positional plane, and even small places like the graceful star mainland had traces of it. As for the reason for the war, Ning Chung never had an answer. Xiao Xinqi shook her head. The good fortune war was not necessarily a war between good fortune realm powerhouses. If it was a war between good fortune realm powerhouses, then this vast universe would have been destroyed. To be precise, the good fortune war was a war between the powerhouses of this universe for the gate of good fortune. This kind of war did not end in one go. Ning Chung stood up and cupped his fists toward Xiao Xinqi. Please enlighten me, Tao Friend Xiao. Although Ning Chung did not mention the Seven Bridges spirit technique, he made up his mind that once Xiao Xinqi's answer satisfied him, he would let Xiao Xinqi and Zhong Wuchen cultivate the Seven Bridges spirit technique together. Chapter 1335. Xiao Xinqi didn't even ask Ning Chung to take out the Seven Bridges in advance and said, I heard that many people use the gate of good fortune. Even some ordinary starry sky cultivators have heard that such a gate would appear after cultivating to the extreme. In fact, only a few people who cultivate to the peak can comprehend this gate and truly understand what the gate of good fortune is. Every time the 5 good fortune weapons that accompany the creation of the universe are perfected, the gate of good fortune would appear. At this time, all powerhouses would come here to compete for it, not just those with good fortune treasures. How many times has the gate of good fortune appeared in history? Only once. Only when the 5 treasures of good fortune are perfected at the same time would this gate appear. Only after this gate appears would the peak powerhouses be able to comprehend this gate. During the last good fortune war, because the 5 treasures of good fortune were perfected, everyone in the vast universe who comprehended the gate of good fortune came to compete for this gate, which led to the first good fortune war. At this point, Xiao Xinqi deliberately looked at Ning Chung and said with a smile, Therefore, when the 5 treasures of good fortune in the universe are perfected again, and someone once again comprehended the gate of good fortune, the second good fortune war would be inevitable. Ning Cheng's heart moved. He understood what Xiao Xinqi meant. As long as the 5 treasures of good fortune were not perfected, the gate of good fortune would not appear. He didn't know whether the other good fortune treasures were perfected or not, but he knew that he still had a few fragments of the good fortune indestructible axe. As long as he didn't take out the fragments, the 5 treasures of good fortune would never be perfected. According to Xiao Xinqi, the gate of good fortune would not appear. If the gate of good fortune did not appear, then the second good fortune war would naturally not happen. Did that mean that the second good fortune war was under his control? I didn't expect Tao Friend Xiao to be an expert who comprehended the gate of good fortune. I've neglected you, Ning Chung said with admiration. Xiao Xinqi's triumphant face turned slightly red after hearing Ning Cheng's words. She spoke up with a slightly embarrassed tone. This king did not have the qualifications to feel the gate of good fortune at that time. It was just a coincidence that I happened to be following behind and wanted to pick up some benefits. I didn't expect that I wouldn't get any benefits and almost died in the heaven and earth deity tomb. Ning Chung said in confusion. Since it's the gate of good fortune, it should be just a gate. If it was a door, then everyone could enter. Why was there a need to snatch it? Moreover, even if there were endless treasures in the gate of fortune, it was a matter between experts. Those who haven't even comprehended the gate of fortune, why would they come here to die? What Ning Chung meant was, Xiao Xinqi, you can't even comprehend the gate of good fortune. So why bother going to the heaven and earth deity graveyard? Xiao Xinqi looked at Ning Cheng as if she was looking at an idiot, and only spoke up after a long while. Your cultivation is too weak, and talking to you is too tiring. If there were no benefits, would people fight for the Gate of Fortune? I do not know what lies beyond the Gate of Fortune, but I have been listening to Tao Lord Fate's teachings this entire time. This king is unable to tell you the specifics, but this king can give you an example. Please advise me. Ning Cheng's posture was very low and did not care about Xiao Xinqi's attitude. Xiao Xinqi felt very satisfied with Ning Cheng's attitude and asked, "Have you ever heard of this person?" Ning Cheng shook his head. He had never heard of such a thing. Xiao Xinqi did not care about it. It's normal that you have not heard of him. In fact, if one could cultivate to my level, one's lifespan would be almost endless. However, one still cannot stand eternally in the vastness like the universe. As time passes, we will still be dragged into the dust of the universe, unable to achieve true immortality and freedom. According to legend, the first person to enter the Gate of Fortune would have a supreme position. Let's put it this way. It would be like an emperor of a mortal world looking down on ordinary life. He would be able to look down on any laws and existences in the vast universe. As for one's own life and death, they would also be in their own hands. However, this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that after the Gate of Fortune opens, there would be a few good fortune auras. Only the first person to enter the Gate of Fortune would be qualified to obtain the good fortune auras that transcend the laws of the universe. Seeing that Ning Cheng wanted to ask, Xiao Xinqi took the initiative to raise her hand and stop Ning Cheng from asking. This king knows what you want to ask. You want to ask why those ants with low cultivation also want to compete for the Gate of Fortune, right? Let this king tell you. The first person to enter the Gate of Fortune can obtain the first position and the good fortune aura. The second and third people can also obtain their own positions, but their positions would be slightly weaker than the first. It's just like how an emperor would have countless ministers under him. Since everyone has a position, wouldn't it be fine for those with weaker cultivation to enter later? Why would they want to die? Ning Cheng had a vague understanding of the Gate of Fortune, but he still wasn't very clear about it. Xiao Xinqi chuckled. Enter later? After the Gate of Fortune opens, there is a limit to the number of positions and the time limit. If no one enters the Gate of Fortune after a certain amount of time, then the Gate of Fortune will close. Similarly, only the first person to enter can obtain the position. Those who enter later can only become ants. In the cultivation world, there is a saying that I don't know if you've heard of it, but if you don't pursue good fortune, you will always be an ant. If you don't pursue good fortune, you will always be an ant. Ning Cheng muttered to himself. For the first time, he felt the difficulty of pursuing immortality. After the first great war of fortune, did the owners of the good fortune weapons all fall? Ning Cheng asked again. In fact, the main purpose of Ning Cheng asking this question was to find out who the previous owner of the mysterious yellow bead was. Xiao Xinqi smiled a few times and spoke up with a crafty voice. This king doesn't know. Ning Cheng felt helpless and continued. I once went to the Jiaoliang mountain. I once met a powerhouse, and he told me that the powerhouses with the good fortune treasures did not actually fall. They just threw their good fortune treasures into the endless void, waiting for the fated people to perfect the good fortune treasures, and then they would come and enjoy the fruits of others' labor. Is there such a saying? Is there such a thing? This king really didn't know about it. Xiao Xinqi looked surprised. Apparently, she really didn't know about what Ning Cheng said. Dao friend Xiao, do you know how many people entered the Gate of Fortune after the first Great War of Fortune? As far as this king knows, there shouldn't be a single one. Later, the good fortune treasures were shattered, and as time passed, the Gate of Fortune closed. Ning Cheng didn't ask again. Xiao Xinqi definitely had a lot of things that she didn't say. It's just that the two of them didn't have much of a friendship, so it was normal for Xiao Xinqi not to say anything. He planned to wait for the Sacred Dao Sect's sect master to come out of seclusion before looking for the Sacred Dao Sect's sect master to discuss this matter. No matter how much hatred he had with the Sacred Dao Sect, in the face of the upcoming crisis, the two of them working together was the best solution. Dao friend Ning, the Seven Bridges Spirit Technique. Xiao Xinqi saw that Ningcheng didn't ask about the Seven Bridges Spirit Technique, so she took the initiative to bring it up. Ningcheng smiled and said, "Dao friend Xiao, I don't actually have the complete Seven Bridges Spirit Technique. Let's talk about it later." Some time ago, the owner of the Good Fortune Azure Lotus appeared, and she was indeed very powerful. Xiao Xinqi suddenly stood up and looked at Ningcheng in shock before asking, "Did you say that the owner of the Good Fortune Azure Lotus appeared? Where is she?" Ningcheng saw that Xiao Xinqi cared about the owner of the Good Fortune Azure Lotus, and immediately perked up. He quickly said, "She is the owner of the Good Fortune treasure. As for where she is, how would I know? I just want to ask, is the owner of the Good Fortune Azure Lotus a woman? Is she much stronger than you?" Xiao Xinqi's face no longer looked casual and turned solemn. "She is indeed a woman. Your comparison is completely wrong. How can an ant like me compare to her? She could pinch me to death with a finger." "What's her name?" Ningcheng asked. However, Xiao Xinqi didn't fall for Ningcheng's trick. Even her tone didn't have the imposing manner of a king. "How could I know the name of such a powerhouse?" Ningcheng suddenly frowned. In his impression, Xiao Xinqi wasn't weak. Although she definitely wasn't as strong as Xingxi wouldn't be able to pinch Xiao Xinqi to death with a finger. Was Xingxi the original owner of the Good Fortune Azure Lotus? Thinking of this, Ningcheng cupped his fist towards Xiao Xinqi and said, "Dao friend Xiao, I want to exchange pointers with you. I want to know your strength, and whether it's worth it for me to teach you the early stages of the Seven Bridges Spirit Technique." The reason why Ningcheng wanted to exchange pointers with Xiao Xinqi was to see if Xingxi was the original owner of the Good Fortune Azure Lotus. If Xingxi wasn't the original owner, then this woman's fate would be the same as his. She would just be used by others. Xiao Xinqi, on hearing Ningcheng bring up the topic of the Seven Bridges Spiritual Technique, immediately stood up in joy and spoke, "Of course, this king has not looked for people to fight for many years, as such fighting is something this king loves the most. In that case, let's go to the void outside the heavens beyond to fight. This is where I live. Don't break my place." After Ningcheng said that, he turned to Zhong Wuqian and said, "Dao friend Zhong, you can stay here and recuperate. After I finish with Dao friend Xiao, I'll come back and talk about the Seven Bridges." Zhong Wuqian had yet to recover from his serious injuries, and the Dao runes on his body had dissipated. He had long wanted to go into seclusion to heal his injuries. Now that Ningcheng was going to fight with Xiao Xinqi, he wouldn't go out even if he wanted to watch the show. In the void hundreds of millions of miles away from the heavens beyond, Ningcheng said to Xiao Xinqi, who was standing opposite him, "Dao friend Xiao, please go first." Xiao Xinqi raised his hand and took out a 5-story white pagoda. His aura surged and ripples of Dao runes instantly condensed into a realm. However, he didn't make a move immediately. Instead, he chuckled and said, "You're just a small Dao integration sacred emperor. Yet you want me to make a move first? That's a disgrace to my identity. You should make a move first. Use the most powerful move of your Seven Bridges Spirit Technique. I'll take it." Upon hearing Xiao Xinqi's words, Ningcheng didn't stand on ceremony. The Creation Divine Spear swept out thousands of spear patterns. The spear patterns gathered the void's killing aura and slashed at Xiao Xinqi. He was only sparring with Xiao Xinqi, so he didn't use any scheming or killing moves. He just wanted to fight head-on to see how strong Xiao Xinqi was. Then, he could determine whether Xingxi was the original owner of the Creation Green Lotus by judging Xiao Xinqi's strength. "Your Dao runes aren't bad. You can split my Dao domain protection. Look at my 5-colored Divine Light Pagoda." Xiao Xinqi didn't care about Ningcheng's traceless spear pattern at all. Instead of retreating, she advanced and stepped into Ningcheng's traceless spear pattern. At the same time, the white pagoda in her hand blasted out. Chapter 1336. The 5-colored spirit light pagoda had not yet completely descended when the multicolored light directly wrapped around Ningcheng's Good Fortune Divine Spear. It felt as if it wanted to bring Ningcheng's Good Fortune Divine Spear directly into the void. At this moment, Ningcheng felt his control over the Good Fortune Divine Spear weakening. The Good Fortune Divine Spear even showed signs of breaking away from him. Ning Cheng was secretly startled in his heart. This pagoda of 5-colored spirit light and the 5 elements treasure fall copper coin had the same wondrous effect. It could even sweep away the opponent's magical weapons. Thinking of the 5 elements treasure fall copper coin, Ning Cheng immediately thought of Shi Qianghua. Not knowing what happened to Qianghua, Ning Cheng suddenly felt a bit stifled in his heart. Xiao Xinqi felt the weakening of Ning Cheng's control over the good fortune divine spear and smiled. This king's 5-colored spirit light pagoda hasn't fallen yet. While speaking, the 5-colored spirit light pagoda had already blasted onto Ning Cheng's protective domain. Without waiting for his protective domain to break, Ning Cheng raised his hand and shot out a law-breaking spirit technique. The laws of heaven and earth in this place were so powerful that Ning Cheng's law-breaking spirit technique couldn't completely break the laws of heaven and earth around him. But it could weaken and even turn the laws of heaven and earth around him into a mess. Boom! The 5-colored spirit light pagoda's law-breaking Dao charm and Ning Cheng's law-breaking Dao charm finally clashed against each other. The law-breaking Dao charm and the void created wave after wave of violent auras. The creation divine spear, which was about to overflow, stabilized once again. The thousands of traceless spear patterns struck the 5-colored divine light pagoda. When the 5-colored divine light pagoda was struck by the divine spear of creation, it immediately released an even more violent 5-colored light. Xiao Xinqi's expression turned serious, and the levels of the 5-colored divine light pagoda became clearer. There were 5 levels in total, and the Dao runes on each level were completely different. A violent Taoist rhyme aura that could devour the heavens and split the earth was faintly brewing in this 5-story white pagoda. It seemed that it would erupt at any time and turn the surrounding space into nothingness. Ning Cheng put away the good fortune divine spear and withdrew from the battle circle. Dao friend Zhao's Dao charm is majestic, and your cultivation is powerful. I admit that I am not as good as you. Can we stop here? Ning Cheng had already tested out Xiao Xinqi's strength. Compared to Xingxi, she was much stronger than Feng Xian. If they were to really fight, he might not be a match. With his current strength, he would only be tortured by Xingxi, and it would even be difficult for him to escape. However, he could deal with Xiao Xinqi calmly. Even if he lost in the end, he wouldn't end up in a sorry state. If they continued to fight, they would have to use all their trump cards and fight to the death. There was no deep hatred between him and Xiao Xinqi. It was just a sparring session. Since he had already tested out her strength, there was no need to continue sparring. Xiao Xinqi also felt shocked in her heart. To be honest, she really did not put Ning Cheng in her eyes at first. The only reason why he agreed to exchange pointers with Ning Cheng was because of the 7 Bridges spiritual technique. Although the two of them had only exchanged pointers for a short period of time, Xiao Xinqi had long since seen that even if Ning Cheng was not as good as her, the gap between them was still quite small. Although he did not display any of his powerful means, Ning Cheng also did not display any of them. For example, he did not see Ning Cheng use the 7 Bridges. Since Ning Cheng had the 7 Bridges spirit technique, who could be sure that he did not have other spirit techniques? What shocked him even more was that Ning Cheng was only at the early stage of Dao integration, while he was at the creation realm. The difference was not just a realm, but the difference between the second and third step. Even if he was stronger than Ning Cheng, there was nothing to boast about. It was only normal for him to suppress Ning Cheng in a flash. Daoist Ning's strength is so powerful that I can't believe it. I'm ashamed. Even if you reach the late stage or mid-stage Dao integration realm, I'm afraid I won't be your match, let alone when you reach the third step in the future. I came to heavens beyond this time, because I was too arrogant. Xiao Xinqi's face was flushed, and her words once again lacked the imposing manner of a king. At the moment, there was only one voice in his heart, which was that not all powerful people were necessarily on Jiaoliang Mountain. There were also other places. For example, heavens beyond, which he did not take seriously at all, also had exceptional experts. Given Ning Cheng's current strength, what would happen once he reached the third step? Even during the first creation war, those third step experts were probably no better than him. In other words, once Ning Cheng reached the third step, would he be an expert who could directly compete for the creation gate? At the thought of this, Xiao Xinqi immediately became excited. This was another expert who was not inferior to Dao Lord Fate. Back then, how many benefits had he obtained after following Tao Lord Fate? For Ningcheng to be so powerful, he was either a cultivator of the most top-notch cultivation technique, or the owner of a creation treasure with great luck. Ningcheng found people like Xiao Xinqi very pleasing to the eye. He walked over and patted Xiao Xinqi's shoulder, mimicking Xiao Xinqi's tone. Daoist Xiao, in terms of strength, there is no doubt that you are stronger than me now. In the future, I will improve, and so will you. Besides, you are about to learn the 7 Bridges divine ability, which will be like adding wings to a tiger. Xiao Xinqi was immediately ecstatic. Daoist Ning, are you saying that you agreed to let me learn the 7 Bridges divine ability? After seeing Ningcheng's strength, Xiao Xinqi had originally known that it was unrealistic for him to learn the 7 Bridges divine ability. Ningcheng was so powerful, and the 7 Bridges divine ability might be his #1 divine ability. How could he allow him to learn it? Did Ningcheng mean that he would allow him to learn the 7 Bridges divine ability? Ningcheng chuckled. I prefer Daoist Xiao to call yourself this king. It doesn't make me look like an outsider. I originally planned to pass the 7 Bridges divine ability to Zhong Wuchen. Since you saved Zhong Wuchen and told me so much, I won't lose a piece of meat if I let you learn it. After feeling surprised, Xiao Xinqi cupped her fists and bowed to Ningcheng. Daoist Ning has such a broad mind. This king has never seen such a broad-minded person. Xiao Xinqi's words were sincere. Generally, great spirit techniques were treasured by others. Few people would take out their great spirit techniques to teach others. Not to mention a top-grade spirit technique, like the 7 Bridges. The person he respected the most was Tao Lord Fate. The reason why he respected Tao Lord Fate was not because of Tao Lord Fate's strength, but because Tao Lord Fate was different from other Tao Lords. Anyone could go to her Tao field and listen to her. She even taught many people some of the top-grade spirit techniques of Tao Lord Fate's cultivation method. He himself had been taught the art of disaster. Although he rarely used the art of disaster, it saved his life every time he used it. Ningcheng and he were not very familiar with each other, but his strength was not much weaker than his. It could be said that given Xiao Xinqi's strength, he could forget about snatching the 7 Bridges divine ability from Ningcheng. Now that Ningcheng was willing to teach the 7 Bridges divine ability to him, if it was not broad-minded, what was it? Ningcheng said with a smile. Daoist Xiao, my 7 Bridges divine ability can't be taught to just anyone. Firstly, I find you pleasing to the eye. Secondly, you are familiar with the Jiaoliang mountain, and have told me a lot of precious information. There's one more thing I'd like to ask for your help with. I once offended a woman who is very powerful. I'm afraid that she will come to heavens beyond, and I'm not her match alone. If you learn the 7 Bridges divine ability and stay in heavens beyond, can you help me if that woman comes? Upon hearing this, Xiao Xinqi patted his chest loudly. Daoist Ning, don't worry. Coming to heavens beyond to find trouble with you is equivalent to finding trouble with this king. No matter who it is, I will definitely not sit back and watch. Ningcheng's proposal was in line with Xiao Xinqi's thoughts. In his opinion, Ningcheng's future achievements were absolutely immeasurable. He had been worried about not having a chance to follow Ningcheng. Now that Ningcheng had offered to help, he could stay by Ningcheng's side. This was because he had concealed one thing from Ningcheng. During the Creation War, no third-step experts would be spared. He had previously told Ningcheng that the Creation War was only a battle for positions. He was right. After the Gate of Fortune opened, the number of slots was limited. In fact, there was a more important reason. Once the Creation War began, as long as one entered the third step, regardless of whether one was a great Tao, small Tao, true Tao, or pseudo Tao, one would have to fight for it. If one fought for it, one would have a chance of survival. If one did not fight for it, one would only experience endless decline and die. After the Creation Gate opened, endless vast Tao rune laws would spread throughout the void of the entire universe. Countless people would directly comprehend the third step and enter the creation realm because of these vast laws. After reaching the creation realm, one had to rush to the creation gate in the shortest time possible and fight for it. If one did not fight, one would still die no matter how much one avoided it. No one could stop the terrifying great decline of the universe. Instead of experiencing decline and death, it was better to fight for that slim chance of survival. This was also why so many people went to their deaths during the creation war. Therefore, the true decline of the experts began with the decline of the creation realm. This was also the reason why those who did not enter the creation realm were all ants. His intuition told him that the second creation war was coming. When that time came, countless ants would turn into cannon fodder. He, Xiao Xinxi, had to hold on to a thick thigh to have a chance of survival. In his opinion, Ningcheng was this thick thigh. With the help of a peerless expert, he would have a better chance of survival. Since he had made up his mind to hold on to Ningcheng, Xiao Xinxi decided to tell Ningcheng everything he knew about the creation war. Daoist Ning, I still have something to hide from you. It's about the creation war. Xiao Xinxi had just finished speaking when a burst of Dao rune fluctuations came from the void in the distance. Ningcheng's expression suddenly changed when he felt the fluctuations. His figure flashed, and he immediately flew over. Xiao Xinxi wanted to hold on to Ningcheng's thick thigh, so he naturally followed him without hesitation. Ningcheng hadn't even reached the battlefield when he brought out the creation divine spear. Boom! Ningcheng's creation divine spear blocked a water column, and the Dao rune in the water column was directly shattered by the creation divine spear, saving a brown-robed man under the water column. Who are you? Why are you standing in the way of my dragon clan? The man who brought out the water column stared at Ningcheng and asked sternly. He could feel that Ningcheng was not an ordinary person. Although his words were sharp, he did not make a move. Big brother. The brown-robed man called out in surprise when he saw Ningcheng. Ningcheng smiled and ignored the guy who brought out the water column. Instead, he looked at the brown-robed man and asked, Aokan, why are you here? Chapter 1337. This brown-robed man was Aokan. After Aokan arrived in the Great Simplicity realm, he had been cultivating in the Great Simplicity Mountain to observe mourning for his mother. Although Aokan was born into the five-clawed divine dragon clan, he was useless because he only had 4 claws at birth. This was tantamount to losing the face of the five-clawed divine dragon clan, which eventually led to him being kicked out of the clan. Even his mother was killed because of the innate dragon pearl in order to save him. When Ningcheng saw Aokan here, he knew that Aokan must have gone to heavens beyond to look for him. Big brother, I went to look for you, but I didn't expect to meet this shameless thing. He asked me for the innate dragon bead. The innate dragon bead is a relic left behind by my mother. Big brother doesn't want it from me, so why should I give it to this scum? Aokan pointed at a man blocked by Ningcheng and spoke out in anger. Ningcheng felt a little speechless. Aokan spoke as if he liked other people's things the most. Not wanting Aokan's innate dragon pearl was a great thing. However, Ningcheng guessed who this innate dragon clan guy was. Looking at his water-attributed Dao runes, he should be from the five-clawed divine dragon clan. His cultivation level seemed similar to Aokan's, but Aokan was clearly not this person's opponent in the battle just now. Who are you? Why are you interfering in my dragon clan's affairs? The man opposite to him repeated his words when he saw that Ningcheng did not answer him. Ningcheng looked at the man with his hands behind his back and said in a cold tone, Get out of here before I get angry. The next time I see you attacking my brother, you won't have the chance to get out. The man's face turned blue. Daoist friend, you must meddle in my dragon clan's affairs. Kid, I told you to get out. Didn't you hear me? Xiao Xinxi, who had rushed over, said angrily. If you dare to stay here, this king will slap you to death. The five-clawed dragon clan is nothing. This king can slap a bunch of them to death. When the man saw this situation, he knew that he would only be humiliated if he stayed here today. He snorted and turned into a water line before disappearing. Ningcheng did not stop this guy. After all, this guy was from the same clan as Aokan. Aokan, since you're here, let's go together. Ningcheng was about to invite Aokan to go to heavens beyond when he saw Aokan clench his fists and look at the disappearing water line. Are you okay? Ningcheng patted Aokan's shoulder. Aokan took a deep breath and spoke to Ningcheng. Big brother, I want to go to the five-clawed divine dragon clan. Even if I know that I will die, I still want to go. Ningcheng asked in doubt, why? Aokan said word by word. I only found out today that the people who snatched the Khanate dragon pearl back then were the scum of the dragon clan. My mother was also killed by someone from the dragon clan. All these years, I've been wondering how others knew about my mother's innate dragon bloodline. So it's a mole. Ningqing gave out a sigh and spoke, but with your strength, if you went to the five-clawed dragon clan, I'm afraid that it would be the same as courting death. Aoken looked at the void in the distance and fell silent for a while before he said, if I still had potential and could cultivate to a higher realm, I would definitely endure it and take revenge after I reached the third step. However, I am very clear that I have already reached the pinnacle by cultivating to this realm. I won't be able to advance any further. As a son, my mother died because of me, but I'm still alive. It's a kind of torture for me. It's a life worse than death. I didn't know who killed my mother before, so I could only endure it. Now that I know who the enemy is, if I don't take revenge, how can I have the face to live in this world? After that, Aoken bowed to Ningqing and said, Big brother, the news about the heavens beyond of heaven and earth has spread everywhere. I came here to help you, big brother. Now, I can only let you down. Aoken will repay big brother's life-saving grace in the next life. Good. This king likes people like you. You have guts. Xiao Xinqi gave him a thumbs up in appreciation. Aoken looked at Xiao Xinqi in confusion. Xiao Xinqi was not tall, so it didn't matter. As a member of the dragon clan, he never cared about a person's appearance. Instead, he knew how powerful big brother Ningqing was. If he wasn't powerful, he wouldn't have been able to scare Ao Fei away with a spear. How dare Xiao Xinqi call herself a king in front of big brother Ningqing? However, he really couldn't see through Xiao Xinqi's strength. Ningqing frowned. He knew that Xiao Xinqi was courting death, but he still wanted to go. He couldn't persuade her. He couldn't let her not avenge her mother. Thinking of this, Ningqing decided to accompany Aoken. Even if his dragon cleansing pool took shape again, it probably wouldn't be able to turn Aoken into a five-clawed divine dragon. Since they were friends, Aoken's matters were his matters. Just as Ningqing was about to speak, Xiao Xinqi suddenly said with a smile, Aoken, who told you that a five-clawed divine dragon can't reach the third step without its fifth claw? Who told you that 4 claws can't become 5 claws? When Aoken heard Xiao Xinqi's words and saw her extremely confident expression, he immediately understood what was going on. He quickly bowed and said, Senior, please advise me. Xiao Xinqi waved her hand. You have to call me King Xiao. I'm a friend of your big brother. I'm not a senior. Aoken didn't know what the relationship between King Xiao and Ningqing was, so he quickly said, Aoken, please advise me, King Xiao. Xiao Xinqi nodded. I have 2 ways. First, you can reach the third step without having 5 claws. Second, I have a way to make you have 5 claws. Which one do you choose? When Aoken heard Xiao Xinqi's words, he almost trembled with excitement. He quickly looked at Ningqing and asked, Big brother, what do you think I should choose? He naturally longed to transform into 5 claws and let everyone in the 5-clawed divine dragon clan see that he, Aoken, wasn't a waste. Aoken should never be abandoned. Ningqing didn't directly answer Aoken's words. Instead he asked, Dao friend Xiao, which of the 2 methods takes longer and is more troublesome? Which one will have greater achievements in the end? Xiao Xinqi chuckled. That's because both methods require the same thing. In terms of future achievements, there's no difference. When Ningqing heard this explanation, he said to Aoken, Brother Aoken, since there is no difference, then if I had to choose, I wouldn't choose to transform into 5 claws and reach the third step. Since I was born with 4 claws, then I will use my 4 claws to prove that without 5 claws, I can still stand at the top. There is a saying in my hometown, even if there are millions of people, I will still go forward. Cultivating the Tao is also about cultivating the heart Tao. Don't be ashamed of your own ugliness, don't be ashamed of your own stupidity, and don't retreat because of your own weakness. Tao friend Xiao isn't tall enough, but do you feel any dissatisfaction with his own height? He only has the aura of a powerhouse, which is the Tao. Aoken clenched his fists. Ningqing's words ignited a flame in his heart. So what if he had 4 claws? With 4 claws he could still stand at the peak. Thank you for your teachings, big brother. Aoken understands. Aoken's tone no longer had the discouragement of death. Apart from Ning Cheng saving him, he appreciated this kind of momentum the most. Whether it was in the heavens beyond of mysterious yellow, or back in the grand essence realm, it was this kind of powerful momentum and confidence. Otherwise, he wouldn't have become the Dao Lord of the grand essence realm. Since he chose to follow Ning Cheng, he had to learn this kind of momentum and courage. At this time, he not only wanted to learn Ning Cheng's indomitable momentum, but also his perseverance and indomitable faith. So what if I'm ugly? So what if I'm stupid? So what if I'm weak? These are just innate qualities. I still have to work hard. When I stand at the peak, those who say that I'm ugly, stupid, and weak will see who's ugly, stupid, and weak. Ugly, stupid, and weak, those are adjectives for losers, not for winners. King Xiao, please teach me the way to reach the third step of Dao confirming with 4 claws. Aoken has already decided. After Aoken understood these principles, he bowed to Xiao Xinqi. Xiao Xinqi sighed and said to Ning Cheng, listening to Dao friend Ning's words is better than going into seclusion. Although this Xiao has never cared about my height, I learned the true meaning from Dao friend Ning. Ning Cheng smiled. Since that is the case, then Dao friend Xiao can tell me about the place to look for something. There's still some time before the mysterious yellow heavens beyond heaven grand competition. And Dao friend Zhong Wuchen has also recovered his Dao charm for a while. Since I'm free, I can accompany Brother Aoken. Xiao Xinqi smiled proudly. Not many people know about this place. I happen to know that it's called the Blackwater Realm. Xiao Xinqi had just finished speaking when Aoken interrupted her in surprise. Is King Xiao talking about the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand? Hearing Aoken's words, Xiao Xinqi was slightly startled. Then she said with relief, by the way, you're from the 5-Clawed Dragon clan, so you naturally know what the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand is. Ning Cheng asked in doubt. Aoken, since you know about the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand, why didn't you say it? Aoken quickly said, of course I know about the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand. It's the most precious treasure of the Dragon Clan, and each one is a priceless treasure. This treasure can make any disciple from the Dragon Clan have a heaven-defying improvement in aptitude and perception. Because this thing only exists in the Blackwater Realm, and it's shaped like a dragon's scale, it got its name. Even the most ordinary dragon can turn into a divine dragon with the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand. Even the dragon with the worst aptitude can grow to a very high realm with this. A 4-clawed divine dragon can use the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand to transform its 5th claw, which is indeed as simple as eating and breathing. After explaining, Aoken sighed again and said, it's just that the Blackwater Realm is extremely terrifying. Few people can come out after entering it. But that's not all. More importantly, the Blackwater Realm is constantly changing its position within the vast void. It's a domain star with a constant flow, and there are very few people who have the opportunity to enter the Blackwater Realm. Ning Cheng suddenly frowned. He didn't care about the danger, but finding the Blackwater Realm was the most important thing right now. If he couldn't even find the Blackwater Realm, how could he find the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand? Seeing Ning Cheng looking at her, Xiao Xinqi calmly said, I still have to thank Aoken. Fortunately, he reminded me. The Blackwater Realm is indeed ever-changing. And it's also a planetary domain with an unstable orbit. But I happen to know the approximate location of the Blackwater Realm during this period of time. Let's go, we're going to make a fortune. The Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand isn't only useful for the Dragon Clan. Chapter 1338. The starry sky will tore through the void and quickly left heavens beyond with Ning Cheng, Xiao Xinqi, and Aoken. Since the Blackwater Realm would not appear in the Jiaoliang Realm, the 3 of them returned to heavens beyond and left through another teleportation gate. This was much simpler than tearing the void plane directly. The starry sky wheel's artifact spirit was in a corner of the Jiaoliang Realm. Ning Cheng could only suppress the idea of finding the artifact spirit and help Aoken find the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand first. Ning Cheng also needed the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand. Although the mysterious fairy ancient clan was not part of the Dragon Clan, the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand was useful. Li Feng had yet to merge his Dao. Apart from the broken Great Simplicity realm, another reason was his limited aptitude. The Nirvana Tao Dragon Scale Sand had an unparalleled effect on improving the aptitude of water attribute cultivators. 8 out of 10 people in the mysterious very ancient clan cultivated water attribute cultivation techniques. Xiao Xinqi had already said that he had a way to get to the Blackwater realm. Heavens Beyond was a place where countless planes intersected, and the sacred Tao world was naturally one of them. Compared to the dilapidated sacred Tao world, the current sacred Tao world was prosperous. The heaven-earth law was complete, and the divine spirit qi was extremely rich. It was far from comparable to the broken 5 great realms. The most magnificent place in the sacred Tao world was naturally the sacred Tao sect. When the sacred Tao sect was perfected, the entire world had mobilized. Those with power contributed, and those with resources contributed. In the sacred Tao world, the best disciples of any sect could enter the sacred Tao sect through the assessment. The sacred Tao sect was not just a sect, but a symbol of a world. After all, everyone was qualified to enter the sacred Tao sect. The largest square in the sacred Tao world was the sacred Tao sect's square. At this time, the sacred Tao sect's square was packed with people, all of them excited and excited. A young man stood on the high platform above the square and shouted excitedly, "The sacred Tao sect's sect master is back. He's now in seclusion in heavens beyond. Let me tell you another piece of good news. The sect master has successfully reached Tao integration. As soon as he returned, he taught a few experts who are a level higher than Tao integration. Those bastards even dared to attack the sacred Tao sect's encampment in heavens beyond. They had a death wish. Where did this bastard come from? How dare he attack the sacred path sect's territory? Is he tired of living? It's a good thing that sect leader returned in time. We have to work hard too and strive to go to the beyond of heaven and earth as soon as possible. That can't be right. I heard that the person who killed the experts who attacked the sacred Tao sect's encampment wasn't our sect master, but someone else. Other than our sect master, who else would have such capabilities? Don't spout nonsense. I really did hear that it was another person. He seemed to be called Ning Cheng. Junior sect master. The cultivator who was talking about the other person suddenly stopped, bowed and called out. Standing beside this cultivator were 2 women. One wore a blue dress and the other wore a light green floral dress. When the surrounding people saw this woman, they immediately stopped making noise and quietened down. The young man on the stage also hurriedly flew down and came in front of the 2 women. He cupped his fists and said, "Mang Tsong greets young sect master Yimo." The blue-robed woman smiled. "Everyone, don't mind me. I just came out of seclusion. By the way, Mang Tsong, did you just say that my father is back?" The man called Mang Tsong hurriedly replied, "Yes, the sect master is in seclusion at the beyond of heaven and earth. I just heard about it." The blue-robed woman looked excited for a moment before she immediately said, "Thank you very much. I'll go and ask the deputy sect master." Wait. The woman standing behind the blue-robed woman stopped another cultivator and asked in a trembling voice, "You just said that there's a person called Ning Cheng in the beyond of heaven and earth." Although the person asking the question had a very weak cultivation level, he was following behind the junior sect master. Thus, the cultivator hurriedly bowed and answered, "That's right, fairy. However, I only heard about it." "Muin, let's go in first." The blue-robed woman could clearly tell that the person speaking did not know much. Thus, she quickly pulled the blue-robed woman around the square and left quickly. The blue-robed woman was Tian Muin, who had come from Earth just like Ning Cheng. The blue-robed woman was called Yi Yimo, the daughter of the sacred Tao sect master Yimo. "Sister, I want to go to the beyond of heaven and earth to see him," Tian Muin said hesitantly after the 2 of them left the square. Yimo fell silent and said after a while, "Muin, are you still worried? Sometimes some things really can't be forced." She subconsciously stopped talking. She thought of the person who had faced the endless terrifying worms by the blood river. He had risked his life to save her, and had faced the endless terrifying worms alone. She remembered that when her clothes were ruined, it was that person who saw it and carried her to escape with him. She also thought of what she had said before she had left. "Ning Cheng, I owe you." She had not repaid what she owed him, Yet he had risked his life to save her again in the fallen wood temple. She shook her head hard, trying to dispel these thoughts. However, he had saved her several times, yet she had not repaid him even once. How could she dispel these thoughts? It was no wonder that Muin could not forget such a person. She could not forget such a person after knowing him. However, she had to forget. No, she had to remember this person's kindness and not think of anything else. No matter what happened between him and Muin, Muin was still her best sister. She absolutely could not think about things that she should not think about. She sighed faintly in her heart. When she had been persuading Muin, had Muin known that she was thinking about the same person? This person had saved her several times, but he had also destroyed Huang Ping. She had not expected that he would still be in heavens beyond. If he had also saved the sacred Dao sect's encampment, then the sacred Dao sect would owe him another favor. By the way, would Daddy fight with him because of Huang Ping when he went to heavens beyond? What would she do if they fought? That shouldn't be the case. Daddy was the most reasonable, and always told them what they should and shouldn't do. At that moment, she suddenly hated the saintess called Mi Yun. Any outstanding person could enter the sacred Dao sect. Mi Yun's aptitude might be outstanding, but even Auntie Su didn't like her character. That woman should not have taken Huang Ping to heavens beyond. Tian Muin shook her head. I don't know. I just wanted to see him. I didn't think about anything else. Sister, have you ever thought about someone alone? Yimo was stunned. The thoughts that she had just forcibly dispelled came to her mind again. She shook her head hard and wanted to let go of these things. She kept telling herself that she wanted to go to heavens beyond to see Daddy, and had nothing to do with that person. Auntie, I want to go to heavens beyond with you. A slightly hoarse young man's voice was heard. Yimo turned around and saw Yi Huangping and Luo Qinghe walking past. She ignored Yi Huangping and said to Luo Qinghe, Big brother Qinghe, I just came out of seclusion and heard that my father had returned to heavens beyond. I want to go there. After Tian Muin bowed to Luo Qinghe, she stood a little further away. Yi Huangping's wolf-like gaze made her feel uncomfortable. Fortunately, someone had crippled this bastard in heavens beyond. Otherwise, she was afraid that she would not have been able to stay in the sacred Dao sect. She did not know that it was Ning Cheng who had crippled Yi Huangping. Luo Qinghe glanced at Yi Huangping with some embarrassment. He really could not stand Yi Huangping's harassment. When he found out that Yimo had come out of seclusion, he had brought Yi Huangping along. Yimo glanced at Yi Huangping in disgust. Yi Huangping's behavior was partly due to Mi Yun's influence, but it was also related to his own nature. I won't take you to heavens beyond. From now on, I will never allow you to make such a request again. For you, the best way is to live your life peacefully and not harm others. Don't think that I don't know how many bad things you've done in the years I wasn't in the sacred Dao sect. If it wasn't for Xiaobao, I would have slapped you to death. Yimo's tone was very cold. Yi Huangping's face immediately turned black. He snorted and turned to leave without even saying goodbye. He had been very afraid of this ant before, but now that he had nothing to fear. Luo Qinghe wanted to chase after her, but Yimo stopped him and said, Big brother Qinghe, you have a lot of things to do every day. Don't waste your time on this trash. Luo Qinghe sighed, nodded, and did not say anything. Although Yi Huangping was crippled, there were too many good elixirs in the sacred Dao sect. He could not cultivate now, but his strength was around the Golden Core realm. As long as he did not leave the sacred Dao sect, his safety would not be a problem. Bitch, am I Yi Huangping a bastard? Am I not a member of the Yi family? It's fine if you don't let me touch a woman with a lowly cultivation level, but you stop me when I go to find my grandfather to restore my foundation. Yi Huangping, don't believe that I can't live without you. Yi Huangping walked quickly, not even caring about the direction in which he was going back. In the sacred Dao sect, no one was willing to talk to Yi Huangping. Upon seeing Yi Huangping come over, the sacred Dao sect disciples either pretended not to see him or circled to the side. Even the disciples guarding the defense array bowed to the side when they saw Yi Huangping come over. They did not have any intention of stopping him. No, this was already far away from the sect. After walking far away from the divine Dao sect, Yi Huangping finally came back to his senses. His mind was much clearer. Even though he had never wandered the sacred Tao world alone, he knew very well that he, Yi Huangping, was really nothing after leaving the sacred Tao sect. Perhaps if he left today, he would be dead in the wilderness tomorrow. I, Yi Huangping, will one day stand at a place that everyone looks up to. Today I'll take this. Yi Huangping gritted his teeth and still didn't dare to go out. He was going back to the sect first. Your surname is Yi too? An abrupt voice appeared beside Yi Huangping. Yi Huangping raised his head and found that a person had appeared in front of him without him noticing. Who are you? Of course my surname is Yi. The Divine Tao sect leader Yi Mo is my grandfather. Yi Huangping took 2 steps back and said. As he spoke, he studied this person. This person wore yellow robes and had slightly dark skin. After studying him, he found that this person looked a little like his auntie Yi Ling. The man smiled because my surname is Yi too, I'm Yi Zifeng. Your grandpa is Yi Mo. Have you heard of my name? Chapter 1339. Ningcheng, Shaoxinxi, and Aoken stood in the endless void. The void in front of them was like black fog rolling, forming vortexes and ripples. King Xiao, this place is very empty. There's nothing here. Aoken looked at Shaoxinxi suspiciously. Shaoxinxi chuckled. If there was everything, then it would be too easy to obtain the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand. I'm sure I'm not wrong. The Blackwater realm will appear in this realm soon. There is only one thing you have to do, and that is to trust me and wait here with me. Aoken nodded. I trust you, King Xiao. Along the way, he had been shocked by Shaoxinxi's various profound insights. After knowing that Shaoxinxi had participated in the first creation war, he had become even more respectful of him. Ningcheng raised his hand, took out a stone chair, sat down, and asked casually, Old Xiao, you said that there was something you didn't tell me about the creation war. What is it? Shaoxinxi did not dare to be as careless with Ningcheng as he was with Aoken. Ningcheng was a creation expert whom he thought highly of, so he wanted to follow Ningcheng into the creation gate. Now that Ningcheng asked, he hurriedly told Ningcheng everything he had not told him before without hiding anything. Ningcheng frowned immediately. Old Xiao, do you mean that as long as the creation gate opens, countless third-step experts will appear? Furthermore, these third-step experts still have to fight for the creation gate? If that was the case, Ningcheng completely understood why there were so many skeletons on Jiaoliang Mountain, and why so many experts had perished there. He also understood why, after the first creation war, there were very few third-step experts in the vast universe, apart from the broken realms. Even if there were a few ugly ones, they were all fake realms or fake realms. Shaoxinxi nodded slightly. Yes, I promise I'm not talking nonsense. According to what I sensed on Jiaoliang Mountain, the second creation war should be happening soon. You have been to Jiaoliang Mountain, so you should know how many experts' principal spirits are hidden there. This is because the location of the first creation gate was on Jiaoliang Mountain. The place that opened is now called the Slaughter Realm, which I have never entered. If you can enter the Slaughter World, you will discover that the experts that have fallen there are much more and stronger than those on the tomb of the gods of heaven and earth. Aokan, who was confused, asked, King Xiao, are you saying that even if I don't look for the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand now, when the Gate of Fortune opens, the vast nomological Dao runes will allow me to step into the creation realm? Shaoxinxi nodded. You're right. You have no idea how powerful the vast and majestic heaven-earth aura, and the pure Dao runes of the Grand Dao, are when the creation gate opens. Even an early-stage Dao integration Holy Emperor could directly break through to the creation realm with that kind of Dao rune erosion, let alone someone who was almost at the perfected Dao integration realm. When the Gate of Fortune opened for the first time, countless Dao integration stage Holy Emperors were born, allowing them to progress to the creation stage. However, they were all cannon fodder in the end. Therefore, if the second creation war starts now, you will also be cannon fodder. The third step that was washed out by the creation great Dao was also a death warrant. Similarly, the vast and majestic Dao rune aura caused the divine spirit herbs and Dao fruits in the entire endless universe to grow rapidly. This is also why so many people in the vast universe were able to succeed in Dao integration after the Gate of Fortune closed and the heaven-earth law was broken. When they talked about the impending arrival of the Second Creation War, even Xiao Xinqi lost interest in continuing to speak. The three of them simply cultivated while waiting. All kinds of storms and spatial blade flares swept over from the void. Fortunately, Ning Cheng's defense array prevented the three of them from worrying about these things. After waiting for a few months, even Ning Cheng did not want to wait any longer. Suddenly, even more violent void cracks and storms swept over. The tough defense array that Ning Cheng had set up was torn to pieces by this powerful storm aura. A huge black shadow turned rapidly from afar. Xiao Xinqi was the first to stand up and say excitedly, "The Blackwater Star territory is about to pass through here. Everyone get ready. It won't take long for the Blackwater Star territory to pass through here. Don't miss this opportunity. Also, after entering the Blackwater Star territory, you must protect yourself." Even without Xiao Xinqi's reminder, Ning Cheng and Aoken had already prepared themselves. When the huge shadow domain, which almost obscured their spiritual consciousness, appeared closest to the three of them, Xiao Xinqi was the first to rush in. Ning Cheng and Aoken also didn't stop and rushed in behind her. A few void dislocation cracks swept past Ning Cheng, causing Ning Cheng to jump. Even if he encountered such a void crack, his corporeal body would most likely collapse. When they rushed into the Blackwater Star territory, they felt an extremely strong gravitational force, which was tens of thousands of times stronger than the gravity on Earth. Fortunately, the Ningcheng trio were all powerhouses. Otherwise, this gravitational force would have turned the three of them into a blood mist. Before they landed on the ground, Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness saw black seawater, without any land. At this moment, Xiao Xinqi's voice arrived. "Don't fall into the black water. Otherwise you might die from the poison. This black water is extremely toxic, and has a strong compression ability. It's not good to fall in without preparation." Ningcheng secretly scolded Xiao Xinqi for being unreliable. She didn't even mention such an important thing in advance. Despite the increasing gravitational force, Ningcheng still turned around and landed on a piece of land with a radius of only a few dozen feet. The place where he landed was extremely hard, without even the slightest bit of soil. It was as dark as the black seawater in front of him. A moment later, Xiao Xinqi and Aoken also landed on the piece of land where Ningcheng was. Ningcheng was just about to speak when he suddenly saw a black shadow fall from the void and rushed directly into the black seawater. After this figure rushed into the black seawater, there wasn't even a ripple in it before it returned to its original state. "I didn't expect that apart from the three of us, someone else would also come here to look for the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand." Xiao Xinqi looked at the disappearing black shadow and smiled. "King Xiao, what should we do now?" Aoken asked. Xiao Xinqi said, "The Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand is very difficult to find. The three of us will naturally split up. After half a year, we will still gather here. If it takes too long, I'm afraid we won't be able to find the way back to heavens beyond." After saying that, Xiao Xinqi took out 2 white talismans and handed them to Ningcheng and Aoken. "This is my treasure, something refined by Fu Lai. One for each of you. After entering the Blackwater Sea, you can use this talisman to protect yourself. Remember, once this talisman turns completely black, you must rush out of the Blackwater Sea within 3 breaths. Otherwise you will suffer." After saying that, Xiao Xinqi's body turned into a shadow line and directly plunged into the black water, just like the person who rushed into it. "Fulai?" Ningcheng suddenly remembered that he had heard of this person before. "Big brother, I'm going in too." After Aoken said that, he brought out the talisman and turned into a white shadow as he rushed into the black water. Ningcheng did not hesitate, and also brought out the talisman and rushed into the black water. After entering the black water, Ningcheng understood the function of the talisman. The talisman transformed into a white shield, protecting his entire body within it. The black seawater outside painted the outermost layer of the white shield black, but the black could not penetrate it. Not only was it unable to penetrate the barrier, but the pressure from the black water was also unable to deform the white barrier in the slightest. This talisman did not require Ningcheng to use his spirit essence, nor did it require Ningcheng to use his spiritual consciousness. As long as Ningcheng used his spiritual consciousness to search for the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand, he would be able to find it easily. Ning Cheng gave a dark sigh in his heart. This Fu Lai was really too strong. To be able to refine this kind of talisman, it seems that this talisman was just an ordinary thing to him. As Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness seeped out, he finally understood why Xiao Xinshi said that the black water in this place was highly toxic. This black water could even corrode his spiritual consciousness. Although his sea of consciousness was a starry sky sea of consciousness, even with such a powerful spiritual consciousness, it could only penetrate a few miles. It was conceivable that Aokan's spiritual sense could only cover a radius of around a kilometer. Moreover, he had to rest constantly. If he had known this would happen, he would have thrown some Empyrean consciousness transmutation pills to Aokan. These things were useful here. A few miles was naturally not Ning Cheng's limit. Although the black water corroded one's spiritual consciousness, Ning Cheng still managed to forcibly extend his spiritual consciousness with the help of his starry sky sea of consciousness and his spiritual consciousness quenching. Ning Cheng had gone to many places that hindered his spiritual consciousness, and his spiritual consciousness had also tempered under all kinds of obstacles. Even in a place like the perpetual moon abyss, his spiritual consciousness could sweep out. Ning Cheng continued to search while tempering his spiritual consciousness. Occasionally, he would swallow a few Empyrean consciousness transmutation pills. Although the Empyrean consciousness transmutation pills had little effect on his current spiritual consciousness quenching, it could help him restore his spiritual consciousness. In just a few days, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had already extended to a distance of 100 miles. Unfortunately, although his spiritual consciousness could expand quickly, he could not make any progress in searching for the Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand. The bottom of the black water was rugged and uneven. Apart from a variety of dead coral reefs and some fish fossils, he did not see a single piece of Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand. No wonder the Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand was so precious. It was truly difficult to find sand in this boundless black water sea. Was there something wrong with the method he was looking for? Although his spiritual consciousness could sweep out anything within 100 miles. But who could be sure that the Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand lay at the bottom of the black water, waiting for him to pick it up? Thinking of this, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness shrank a bit and began to penetrate the soil of this black water sea. Although it was soil, the black water's seabed was harder than steel. Even if Ning Cheng wanted to expand his search range, his spiritual consciousness could only penetrate about a meter below. Sure enough, after Ning Cheng changed his method, in just 2 days he caught a trace of Law Dao charm fluctuations. Since entering the Blackwater world, Ning Cheng had never felt any Law Dao charm fluctuations. At this moment, sensing the Law Dao charm fluctuations, Ning Cheng immediately understood that even if this wasn't the Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand, it definitely had something to do with treasures. Chapter 1340. Ning Cheng took a step forward, and the talisman's protective shield immediately covered the place where the Dao charm fluctuations came from. But before Ning Cheng could dig up the hard part below, a burst of fluctuations came from outside the talisman. Seeing that someone had come over, Ning Cheng quickly raised his hand and grabbed it. When he raised his hand again, there was a black sandstone the size of a longan in his palm. To be precise, it was the size of a longan, but it had the same shape as a dragon scale. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was an infinitely shrunken dragon scale. A vast and majestic aura of heaven and earth came from it, as if this dragon scale sand contained endless things. As long as one could comprehend it, whether it was cultivation or spirit techniques, one would be able to advance further. Give it to me. A powerful aura emerged, followed by a voice reaching Ning Cheng's ears. But before Ning Cheng could put away the Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand, a huge fist the size of a dustpan came crashing over. Even if this was the seabed of the black water, even if the pressure of the black water here was enough to squeeze a low-rank spirit artifact into a thin piece of paper, this punch still blasted through all obstacles. In front of this punch, the black water automatically separated, as if it was cut by a machine, neatly as if it was cut by a knife. Kacha! With a sound, Ning Cheng's protective talisman directly turned into nothingness under this squeezing force. Ning Cheng brought out the good fortune spirit spear to block this punch. At the same time, the dark consciousness storm transformed into a new protective domain around his body. The talisman given to him by Xiao Xinqi was good, but it could only block the erosion of the black water. It couldn't block the bombardment of such a powerful external force. After all, it was an auxiliary talisman, not a protective talisman. Although Ning Cheng used the dark consciousness storm to extend a new protective domain, he also prepared to retreat at any time. According to the repeated tempering of his spiritual consciousness in the black water over the past few days, he estimated that his spiritual consciousness shield should be able to block the erosion of the black water. Boom! The Dao charm exploded, and the surrounding black water exploded, forming a vacuum zone with a radius of more than 10 miles. When the Dao charm dissipated, the black water rushed over again. However, the two's Dao charm domains blocked the black water and couldn't penetrate. Ning Cheng was overjoyed in his heart. His spiritual consciousness shield really was able to block out the black water that had seeped in. As long as his spiritual sense existed, he would not have to worry about being corroded by the black water at the bottom of the black water. At this time, Ning Cheng finally had the time to observe the person in front of him. This person wore black robes, and did not have any protective magical weapons around him. As such, the black water was directly blocked by his domain, and could not penetrate even a little bit. In terms of cultivation, his strength should be at Xiao Xinqi's level. Ning Cheng was able to block this blow, and even after the protective shield shattered, he was still safe and sound. This black-robed man realized that Ning Cheng's strength was very strong. He could not understand why Ning Cheng had such a protective domain, and why did he use such a precious talisman. You are very strong. The black-robed man, on seeing Ning Cheng put away the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand, calmly spoke up. Ning Cheng shook the good fortune spirit spear in his hand and spoke up with a calm voice. Whether I'm strong or not is another matter. Since you broke my precious talisman, shouldn't you talk about compensation? By the way, my talisman was refined by Fu Lai. The black-robed man spoke up without any care. Your talisman will be corroded by the black water sooner or later. You are very strong, so I want to invite you to make a deal. If we succeed, each of us can get at least a dozen pieces of Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand, and even other treasures. What deal? Ning Cheng, attracted by the other party's words, subconsciously asked. The black-robed man smiled and spoke. I've been here for many years and found a place that definitely has a secret immortal cave. Think about it. To be able to build an immortal cave at the bottom of the Blackwater River, one would naturally be a powerhouse among powerhouses. Unfortunately, I can't enter that immortal cave alone. If you are willing to join hands with me, we can split the things inside 30 to 70. You've been here for many years? Weren't you the person who entered the Blackwater Sea a dozen days ago? Ning Cheng asked in doubt. He thought that the black-robed man in front of him was the same person he and Xiao Xinqi saw a dozen days ago. The black-robed man frowned, and after a while spoke to himself. The Great Decline is approaching, and more people are coming to the Blackwater realm. After that, he seemed a little anxious and asked Ning Cheng again. Are you willing? Since you can block the Blackwater without using any talismans or defensive weapons, it would be very suitable for us to join hands. Ning Cheng thought about how he had searched for so many days before finding a single piece of Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand. This black-robed man had been here for many years, so maybe he really did find a mysterious immortal cave. Okay, I agree to join hands with you. As for the split, I can't let you suffer too much. Let's not split it 30 to 70, let's just split it 40 to 60. Ning Cheng stamped the good fortune divine spear in his hand on the ground and spoke with determination. The black-robed man's face turned cold. What did you say? I said 30 to 70, it's 70 for me and 30 for you. Who do you think you are, to dare to split it 40 to 60 with me? Who do you think you are? 40 to 60, 60 for me, 40 for you. If you don't want to do it, then fuck off. By the way, before you fuck off, you have to compensate me for my talismans. Ning Cheng's good fortune divine spear once again rolled up a wave of spear traces. Ning Cheng's principle was to deal with unreasonable people, even more unreasonable than him. Haha, good boy, you dare to say such words. Then let this sovereign see who will fuck off first. As the black-robed man spoke, 2 red lights swept towards Ning Cheng from the left and right. These 2 red lights clearly swept towards Ning Cheng, but Ning Cheng felt that these 2 red lights wanted to bind the entire black water of the Blackwater world. Moreover, in this black water he couldn't escape from these 2 red lights no matter where he went. So strong, Ning Cheng felt even more cautious. From this, one could imagine that if he wasn't in the black water, these 2 red lights wouldn't just bind the black water, but the entire space. This was the first time Ning Cheng had seen someone use red lights to bind space. The Dao charm aura of these 2 red lights gave Ning Cheng a faint familiar feeling. However, Ning Cheng didn't have time to think about where he had felt this Dao charm aura before. Instead, he raised his hand and was about to bring out his law-breaking spirit technique. Just when Ning Cheng brought out his law-breaking spirit technique, to tear apart the Dao charm laws binding the red lights, the time around him started to freeze. Ning Cheng felt even more shocked. Not only did these red lights bind space, but they could also bind time. Law-breaking finger. While feeling shocked, Ning Cheng shot out a finger without hesitation. This black-robed man's strength had far exceeded his expectations. Therefore, he didn't think about asking for compensation from this black-robed man. Instead, he wanted to save his life. Boom, the black water exploded, destroying everything in its path. Ning Cheng didn't know how deep the Blackwater Sea was, but with just a finger, Ning Cheng directly broke through all the black water. Under Ning Cheng's finger, the extremely heavy black water exploded into an endless water curtain. The water curtain rained down, and the black water within a radius of dozens of miles was blasted away. At this moment, Ning Cheng felt as if he wasn't at the bottom of the water, but at the bottom of a deep pit. Looking up, he could see the gray sky. The surrounding laws of heaven and earth weakened, and the red lights binding the space and time between heaven and earth also weakened at this moment. Kaka, the red lights and the law-breaking finger collided, and another explosion of Dao charm filled the sky. The weakened red lights couldn't bind Ning Cheng in the end. Under the impact of the law-breaking finger, it turned into nothingness and dissipated in the exploding black water. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath and stared at the black-robed man in front of him warily. His law-breaking finger had only been used to block the opponent's spirit technique for the first time. It didn't have any offensive capabilities. So strong. The black-robed man also stared at Ning Cheng in shock. Don't look at the red light spirit technique he used. It was one of his most powerful spirit techniques. It could bind space and time. Moreover, his red light spirit technique was even more powerful in this Blackwater world, which had almost no laws. Yet the other party had broken through such a powerful spirit technique with a single finger. This person's strength simply reached the heavens. Both sides feared each other and didn't attack again. The black-robed man put away the red light. From beginning to end, Ning Cheng couldn't see what weapon he used. The black water that had been blasted away fell again, but it was blocked in the middle of the domain between the two. You're very strong. Are you really only in the Dao integration realm? The black-robed man took in a deep breath and asked in a solemn tone. Ning Cheng didn't put away the good fortune divine spear and said calmly, "My realm has nothing to do with you. You attacked me for no reason and broke my talisman." "Wait, I agree. Let's go to that place together. We'll split it 50-50. No one will take advantage of the other." The man didn't wait for Ning Cheng to finish speaking. When Ning Cheng heard this, he put away the good fortune divine spear. His original idea was to split it 50-50. This fellow wanted him to join forces, yet he gave him a 30-70 split. This fellow's sense of superiority was just too strong. "This lord is Chu Wujian. Since we're going to cooperate, I want to know your name." The black-robed man spoke up immediately after Ning Cheng agreed to a 50-50 split. "I'm called Ning Cheng. Dao friend Chu, I wonder what weapon did you use to cast that red light spirit technique?" Ning Cheng felt a faint sense of familiarity from the red light and asked. Chu Wujian's face sank. "I didn't ask about Dao friend Ning's spirit technique, so I asked Dao friend Ning not to ask about my spirit technique. Everyone has their own secrets. After this cooperation, we'll go our separate ways and have nothing to do with each other." Ning Qing smiled and didn't care about it. However, he felt that although Chu Wujian's spirit technique was powerful, it had a fatal weakness. Moreover, he hadn't found this weakness yet. If he fought with Chu Wujian a few more times, maybe he would find this weakness. By the way, the problem with the other party's spirit technique was that the aura of the two red lights and the Dao charm of the two red lights didn't blend well with each other. If they fused, then with his current strength, even his order-breaking finger wouldn't be able to break the other party's two red lights. The two red lights seemed to contain a kind of yin and yang Dao charm, but the aura contained within them was the life force of all living things. Ning Cheng's heart skipped a beat. He finally remembered that it was the aura of the good fortune azure lotus. It was the same aura that Yin Xishuang had obtained from the azure lotus petal. How could Chu Wujian have the azure lotus petal? Even if he did, that woman Xingxi should have taken it back. Unless Chu Wujian also had a good fortune weapon like him. But how was that possible? Chapter 1341. The more Ning Qing thought about it, the clearer it became. Chu Wujian's two red lights carried the aura of the good fortune azure lotus. If those two red lights were formed by the good fortune azure lotus's petals, then everything would become clear. Chu Wujian's spirit technique should contain the yin-yang Dao charm. Unfortunately, Chu Wujian's weapon didn't match his spirit technique. However, if Chu Wujian didn't have a good fortune treasure, how could he conceal the aura of the good fortune green lotus? Xingxi didn't take back the green lotus petal? Fellow Daoist Ning, follow me. We only need a few days to reach the ruins of the abode. After Chu Wujian finished speaking, he spread out his body and moved across the black water, like a broad road. Ning Qing followed behind Chu Wujian and asked casually, Dao friend Chu, how long have you been in this Blackwater world? Chu Wujian did not mind and casually replied, it has been several tens of thousands of years. I've been searching for the Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand here. He had thought that Chu Wujian would stay here for at most a few decades. Hearing Chu Wujian say that he had been here for tens of thousands of years, Ning Qing even forgot the purpose of his question and subconsciously spoke up. During these tens of thousands of years, Dao friend Chu should have already collected a lot of Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand, right? You still care about a dozen pieces of Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand? Chu Wujian was slightly startled. He immediately felt that there was something wrong with his words. He chuckled and casually said, you found a Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand just now because of luck. Do you think it's that easy to find Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand? Sometimes you might not even find one in hundreds of years. Ning Qing felt that Chu Wujian's words were a bit false, but he didn't point it out. Instead, he spoke with a slightly admiring tone. I heard that it's not easy to stay in the Blackwater world for even a few years. Yet, Dao friend Chu managed to stay here for tens of thousands of years and still remain safe and sound. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Chu Wujian had to speak up. For tens of thousands of years, apart from healing, I've been in seclusion. He rarely comes out to search for the Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand, so he didn't obtain much and didn't encounter much danger. Really? Ning Qing showed a smile. By the way, Dao friend Chu, if we stay at the bottom of the Blackwater world, can we isolate all auras? It can even isolate the aura of powerful treasures? Chu Wujian felt slightly shocked when he heard Ning Cheng's words. He stopped and stared at Ning Cheng before saying, what do you want to say? I don't want to say anything. I just thought of something. If I'm not wrong, you've long since refined the secret realm of the abode. Speak. What did you want to do by deceiving me? After Ning Cheng finished, he opened his hand, and the good fortune divine spear once again fell into his hand. He felt that something was wrong, and when he thought about how Chu Wujian had refined the good fortune green lotus and turned it into two red lights, he finally knew what was wrong. Chu Wujian had a way to hide the good fortune green lotus from Xingxi. With this kind of ability, how could he not be able to open a cave in the Blackwater world after tens of thousands of years? Furthermore, how could someone who had stayed in the Blackwater for tens of thousands of years care about a dozen pieces of Nirvana Dao dragon scale sand? Most importantly, Ning Cheng had stayed at the bottom of the Blackwater for a few days. As such, he knew that this place was definitely not a place for cultivation. Wanting to go into seclusion to comprehend the realm was a joke in this place. As for healing, this was also not the place to do so. When Chu Wujian heard Ning Cheng's words, 2 more red lights wrapped around his hands, and his killing intent suddenly filled the air. Ning Cheng's tone turned cold. If you want to fight, then I'll accompany you. But since I could blast open the black water with a finger, then I can also blast open the black water with a finger. Of course, blasting open the black water doesn't mean anything. But if you do it too many times, do you think that woman would know about your weapon? Which woman? Chu Wujian asked subconsciously. Ning Cheng didn't know if Chu Wujian really didn't know about Xingxi, or if he was pretending not to know. Therefore he simply said, that woman is called Xingxi, and her weapon is called the Good Fortune Green Lotus. I couldn't even last a round in her hands. Chu Wujian, do you think that woman would let you go if she knew where you were hiding? Even I can feel that your 2 red lights can't merge with your spirit technique. How could you deceive that woman's eyes? Chu Wujian had already prepared for the worst in his heart, but he didn't expect Ning Cheng to point it out. At this moment, he only felt regret. If he could do it all over again, he would rather wait for another 10,000 years than fight Ning Cheng. He really wanted to kill Ning Cheng, but he also knew that it would be difficult to kill Ning Cheng. Speak, what do you want? Chu Wujian finally decided to ask about Ning Cheng's asking price. Ning Cheng spoke up with a calm voice. If I didn't guess wrong, the ancient immortal cave you found should be real. Ning Cheng felt sure that he had not guessed wrong. If it were fake, Chu Wujian wouldn't have dared to bring him to this place. Chu Wujian nodded. Yes, that immortal cave is indeed real. I've been cultivating in that immortal cave. Now that Ning Cheng saw through his plan, he naturally wouldn't take Ning Cheng to his immortal cave. I have 2 requests. First, give me half of the things in that immortal cave. Second, you have to tell me why you plotted against me. We don't have any contact with each other. Third, you have to meet me in the future. As for when, I'm not sure. Ning Cheng finished his request and quietly waited for Chu Wujian's answer. Why do you have to meet me in the future? Chu Wujian frowned slightly and didn't care about Ning Cheng's first and second questions. Ning Cheng didn't know if Chu Wujian knew about the Good Fortune War or not. So he asked ambiguously, what do you think? Chu Wujian's tone turned cold. You want to participate in the Good Fortune War? This fellow really knew about the Good Fortune War. No wonder he had such a way to hide the Good Fortune Azure Lotus. Hiding at the bottom of the Blackwater world, as long as Xingxi didn't come here, it would be difficult to find him. Whether I can participate in the Good Fortune War or not, you don't need to worry about it. If you don't agree, then don't blame me for letting that woman named Xingxi come. Ning Cheng didn't brag. He indeed had the confidence to call Xingxi. As long as he and Chu Wujian fought and exposed Chu Wujian's Azure Lotus aura, Xingxi would definitely come. Of course, this was just a means to threaten Chu Wujian. If Xingxi came, he wouldn't be able to get away with it. I obtained 18 Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand, and a Dragon Clan Dao formula in that immortal cave. As for why I plotted against you, it's because I cultivate a doppelganger spirit technique, which requires a powerful avatar. When I saw you, I knew that you were suitable to be my avatar. Third, since you know what I have, you also know that I won't leave the Blackwater world. If you want to see me in the future, you can come to the Blackwater world to find me. If you can't find me, then don't blame me. Chu Wujian spoke with some grievances. Before his strength reached a certain level, he would never take out the Good Fortune Azure Lotus's lotus petal. It would be best if he could kill that woman in the future instead of giving away the Good Fortune Azure Lotus's lotus petal. Ning Cheng knew that this fellow definitely had more than 18 Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand. But since Chu Wujian said 18, it seemed that he only wanted to give him 9. If he asked for more, this fellow wouldn't agree. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng spoke up. Give me 9 Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand, and that Dragon Clan Dao formula. Sure, here you go. After Chu Wujian finished speaking, he raised his hand and was about to throw out a ring. But just as he was about to throw out the ring, the 2 red Dao charm radiating from his wrists suddenly weakened, as if he had put them away. Ning Cheng suddenly put away the Good Fortune Spirit Spear and opened his hand. A long black arrow suspended in the air. Under this black arrow, a 5-colored bow could be vaguely seen. A violent killing intent instantly filled this part of the Blackwater Sea, and turned into one terrifying killing intent after another that locked onto Chu Wujian. 5-colored star splitter arrow? Chu Wujian sucked in a breath of cold air and froze. In just a moment, 2 red Dao charm radiances appeared just a few feet away from Ningcheng. It was the 2 red lights that had disappeared from Chu Wujian's wrist. Ningcheng secretly felt that this fellow hadn't used his full strength just now. This was this fellow's trump card. If he hadn't taken out the 5-colored star splitter arrow early, maybe he wouldn't have discovered it until the 2 red lights locked onto him. I knew that you wouldn't keep your promise, but I didn't misread you. For someone like you to obtain the lotus petals of the good fortune azure lotus, you must have had the luck to eat shit. After Ningcheng finished this sentence, the good fortune spirit spear suddenly rolled up thousands of spear patterns. These spear patterns didn't attack Chu Wujian at all. Instead, they formed a huge vortex outside the 2's domains. The vortex grew bigger and bigger, and the Dao charm of the spear patterns swept away the surrounding black water, forming a space. Stop, I agree. As these words fell, Chu Wujian threw a ring to Ningcheng without hesitation. He understood Ningcheng's intentions very well. That is, to sweep away the black water, and let the aura of the good fortune azure lotus seep out to attract that woman named Xing Shi. This person was too insidious. Unfortunately, he couldn't expose the good fortune azure lotus's lotus petals yet. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness swept through the ring and swept inside. Sure enough, apart from the 7 Nirvana Dao dragon scale sands, there was also an ancient scroll. Ningcheng didn't continue to stir the black water, and slowly put away the good fortune spirit spear. Then he watched Chu Wujian put away the 2 red lights and disappeared in an instant. After just a few breaths, Ningcheng could no longer catch any trace of Chu Wujian's aura. Only then did he put away the 5-colored star splitter arrow. The bottom of this black water was really strange. Maybe Chu Wujian wasn't the only one hiding here. 9 Nirvana Dao dragon scale sands were more than enough for Ningcheng. Ningcheng was just about to rush out of the black water to wait for Xiao Xinxi and Ao Kin when he suddenly received a message from Ao Kin asking for help. Ningcheng didn't even think about it. Instead, he turned into a stream of water and disappeared. Ningcheng had just left when Chu Wujian's figure reappeared a few hundred meters away from Ningcheng. He stared in the direction where Ningcheng disappeared and spoke to himself coldly. No one can take advantage of me, Chu Wujian. I will find you to settle accounts. After saying this, his figure slowly turned into black water and disappeared. Chapter 1342. Ningcheng hadn't even reached the place where Ao Kin was when he felt an oppressive pressure on his mind. Ningcheng then saw Ao Kin and thought that Ao Kin was besieged. Ao Kin stood under a huge dragon skeleton. Just like him, he couldn't even straighten his back due to the oppressive aura. Even the Dao charm aura on his body gradually dissipated. There wasn't a single drop of black water within a radius of dozens of miles around the dragon skeleton. From this, it could be seen that the black water here was also blocked by the dragon skeleton's pressure. Not even a drop could seep in. Ningcheng felt extremely shocked. Ao Kin was an expert close to the peak of Dao integration. Such a powerhouse was actually unable to withstand the pressure of a set of dragon bones. This was simply too unbelievable. Although Xingxi was strong, she couldn't compare to this kind of power, right? From this, one could imagine how powerful the owner of this dragon skeleton was before he fell. Ningcheng's Dao charm spread out, and his domain instantly strengthened. He wanted to go over and take Ao Kin away. Seeing Ningcheng trying to pull him away, Ao Kin quickly said, "Big brother, I can't go. This place has the powerful Dao charm perception I need. I have a hunch that I can reach nirvana here. It's just that my absorption ability is too poor. I can't support it. I want to ask Big Brother to give me a few medicinal pills." Ningcheng didn't hesitate to grab 2 bottles of medicinal pills and throw them over. These are 2 bottles of Dao restoration pills. You can use them first and tell me what other medicinal pills you need. I'll help you refine them. Although the dragon skeleton's pressure could easily suppress Ao Kin and put a lot of pressure on Ningcheng, it couldn't suppress Ningcheng to the point where he couldn't move like Ao Kin. Ao Kin wanted to say 1 or 2 more words, but the powerful pressure made him unable to continue. Ningcheng suddenly thought of the Dragon Clan's cultivation method on him, and immediately took it out, and threw it to Aoken. I just obtained the Dragon Clan's cultivation method. Sweep it with your spiritual consciousness, and see if it's better than the cultivation method you're cultivating now. The cultivation method Ningcheng threw fell beside Aoken, and Aoken's spiritual consciousness swept in. In just half a day, Ningcheng felt something wrong. Aoken's aura seemed to have suddenly increased, and the pressure on Aoken seemed to have weakened. The ripples of Taoist rhymes around Aoken became stronger and stronger. Ningcheng, of course, knew that it was not the dragon bone's pressure weakening, but rather Aoken's ability to resist the pressure increasing. Indeed, a few hours later, Aoken raised his hand and picked up the cultivation technique on the ground. He said in surprise, "Big brother, this cultivation technique is extremely beneficial to me. It's a pity that I don't have the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand. Otherwise, I would definitely be able to improve." Even if Aoken hadn't mentioned it, Ningcheng had already planned to give the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand to Aoken. As soon as Aoken finished speaking, he saw a dragon scale-shaped sandstone the size of a longan drop into his palm. Nirvana Dragon Scale Sand? Aoken asked in surprise. He immediately knew that it was the Nirvana Dragon Scale Sand. At this time he only felt a deep gratitude towards Ningcheng in his heart. He had already been here for more than 10 days. In here, not to mention the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand, it would be difficult for him to even stay alive. From this, one could see how precious the Nirvana Dragon Scale Sand was. With his strength, even if he found the Blackwater world, he wouldn't be able to obtain the Nirvana Dragon Scale Sand. Now that Ningcheng took out the most suitable Dragon Clan cultivation method for him, along with the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand, it was like sending charcoal in snowy weather to him. Ningcheng smiled and said, "You can try to break through. I will protect you. It's just that there are almost no laws here. I don't know if you can succeed. Big brother, this place is better than any place with complete laws for me. This is the remains of the ancestral dragon of my five-clawed spirit dragon clan. I can feel a kind of inheritance power here. The remains of the ancestral dragon represent the laws of my dragon clan. Unfortunately, my cultivation method was too weak before and couldn't absorb this inheritance. But with the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand and the cultivation method from Big Brother, I can definitely succeed." After Aoken finished this sentence, he fell silent. He had completely restrained his mind at this time. Even after cultivating for so many years, he had never encountered such a powerful opportunity. While Aoken cultivated, Ningcheng stood by his side to protect him. Although his spiritual consciousness could stretch out over 100 miles in the Blackwater, Ningcheng knew that the Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand in this place was truly difficult to find. What's more, he still had 9 Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand on him. As half a year passed by, Ningcheng felt the Dao charm aura around Aoken start to change. The endless law power of the ancestral dragon's remains began to gather, and then rushed towards Aoken. The Dao charm aura around Aoken's body continued to rise. The Blackwater, which had been blocked by the dragon bones, retreated even further, and a black vortex of Dao charm hovered over the dragon bones. A powerful dragon roar rang out, and Aoken turned into a huge black dragon. Ningcheng noticed that the black dragon that Aoken had turned into had only 4 claws. Although Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness didn't observe Aoken, he could feel Aoken's Dao charm gradually merging with the surrounding laws, forming the embryonic form of a world. Seeing that Aoken had stepped into the 3rd step of the world creation realm, Ningcheng felt delighted. Once Aoken stepped into the world creation realm, it would not only help him a lot, but it would also give him the confidence to return to the 5-clawed spirit dragon clan for revenge. What's more, Ningcheng could feel that Aoken's world creation realm was not as simple as a pseudo-world. Looking at the rising Dao charm aura around Aoken and the increasingly solid law space, Ningcheng vaguely guessed that Aoken's world creation realm should have something to do with the ancestral dragon's inheritance. Since the ancestral dragon's skeleton was so terrifying, its original strength must have been unparalleled. Therefore, the ancestral dragon's inheritance must have been powerful as well. The The coercion continued to rise, but at this time, it had already started to merge with Ao Kan's Dao charm. Kacha! A crisp cracking sound rang out, and the dragon roar grew even louder. Ningcheng felt shocked. This Kacha sound clearly came from Ao Kan's realm domain shattering. Did Ao Kan's realm creation fail? But the next moment, Ningcheng realized that he worried too much. The realm domain aura around Ao Kan grew even more solid and powerful. It vaguely gave off an aura that chased after Xiaoxinshi. Even if it wasn't the great Dao, it wasn't any weaker than Xiaoxinshi's. The high-pitched dragon roar directly split the black water and went straight into the void. Ao Kan's dragon body rose up, and the aura of a king seeped out. The Dao charm in the void roared, and a thunderous dragon roar spread to almost every corner. Ao Kan's realm domain grew stronger and stronger. Even Ningcheng, who was on the side, couldn't feel it at all. At this moment, everyone in the Blackwater realm knew that someone had successfully reached the third step, creation realm. Moreover, this realm was extremely powerful. Apart from Ningcheng, no one wanted to come here and anger Ao Kan, a new third step expert. Boom. Ao Kan's dragon body in the void finally transformed into a human form and fell to the bottom of the Blackwater. The huge force caused the bottom of the black water to rumble. The next moment, Ningcheng saw the huge ancestral dragon's bone disappear. Ningcheng laughed and said, Ao Kan, congratulations on stepping into the creation realm. Ao Kan's eyes filled with joy. Big brother, without your help, Ao Kan wouldn't be who I am today. Did you put away the ancestral dragon's bone? Ningcheng asked. Ao Kan spoke up with even more joy. Big brother, I finally understand what the creation realm is. I built my own realm. Although it's not perfect, it's much better than a storage ring or an ordinary world. I moved the ancestral dragon's bone into my realm, and I have a hunch that my realm will continue to advance again. Ningcheng immediately understood and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. No wonder he didn't get anything good after killing several creation realm experts. It turned out that they had placed all these good things in their own realms. Even if they fell, no one could take away the things in their realms. No one took away the ancestral dragon's bone. You're really lucky. Ao Kan shook his head. No, if I weren't a five-clawed dragon, I wouldn't have been able to take away the ancestral dragon's bone. Ao Kan, not bad. You actually reached the third step creation realm. It looks like you've gained a lot here. Xiaoxinshi's voice came from afar and soon fell not far from Ningcheng and Ao Kan. Ningcheng smiled. Old Xiao, I guess Ao Kan's strength isn't any weaker than yours now. Xiaoxinshi didn't care. Since we're all together, the stronger the better. You'll know when the time comes. For Xiaoxinshi, the stronger Ao Kan was, the better. The creation war was also a battle between factions. Once the creation war started, Ao Kan would definitely follow Ningcheng. He also didn't want Ao Kan to be too weak, which would lower the combat effectiveness of their side. King Xiao, I only achieved this with the help of Big Brother. Ao Kan quickly spoke up. Xiaoxinshi smiled. It doesn't matter who helped you, as long as you can create a realm. I was lucky. In just half a year, I found 3 pieces of Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand, and found something else. Now that Ao Kan has reached the third step, do you want to stay here and look for Nirvana Dao Dragon Scale Sand, or do you want to leave? Ningcheng suddenly asked. Dao friend Xiao, if we leave this place and want to come back in the future, can we find a place? Xiaoxinshi remained silent for a while before speaking. It's difficult. Our strength is still too low. We can't find the Blackwater realm with our spiritual consciousness. If we want to come back, apart from the previous method of waiting, there is another way, which is to make an imprint. But with our current strength, it would be difficult to make an imprint to return here. I have a way. Ao Kan suddenly said. I can find this location by sensing the remnant aura of the ancestral dragon. The ancestral dragon? Xiaoxinshi asked in surprise. Ao Kan nodded and said, Yes, King Xiao. The reason I can reach the third step is not only because of Big Brother's help, but also because of the ancestral dragon's inheritance. Xiaoxinshi looked at Ao Kan in amazement and even said with some envy, No wonder you became so powerful after creating a realm. The ancestral dragon was a peak powerhouse. Even Dao Lord Fate had to call him Dao friend. Since you have the ancestral dragon's inheritance, you can call me Old Xiao. Xiao Xinshi said with some embarrassment. Even if he wanted to be a king, he didn't dare let the ancestral dragon's disciple call him King Xiao. Chapter 1343. The Heavenly Gate Realm was considered the number one realm among the numerous plane realms in the periphery of heavens beyond. After the Jiaoliang realm had been destroyed during the Creation War, there had been a rumor that the Heavenly Gate realm was the closest to the Creation Gate. Because of this rumor, more and more experts had moved to the Heavenly Gate realm. After the Creation War, the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan had also fallen and gathered in the Heavenly Gate realm. After so many years of development, the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan once again had the aura of being the number one dragon clan. The Heavenly Man Sea of the Heavenly Gate realm was the number one sea in the Heavenly Gate realm, and the Heavenly Man Sea was basically the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan's sphere of influence. Although the clan leader of the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan, Ao Feng, had a peak creation realm cultivation level, his strength was not inferior to ordinary integration realm experts. In the Heavenly Gate realm, he was considered a hero. Apart from Ao Feng, the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan's right guard elder, Ao Sha, was also at the third step late-stage creation realm. Ordinary Unity realm experts weren't a match for him. It could be said that apart from clan leader Ao Feng, Ao Sha's status in the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan was the highest. What made Ao Sha regretful was that although he had countless cultivation partners and concubines, he had only given birth to a son and a daughter. As for the rest of the creation realm experts, there were no less than 10 in the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan. Although the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan currently did not have an integration realm expert, everyone knew that it was only a matter of time. With a period of accumulation, the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan would not only have an integration realm expert, but also more than one. As the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan's experts increased and became more prosperous, the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan's status in the Heavenly Gate realm also increased. Today was the day the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan's genius, Ao Mang, succeeded in his creation realm and reached the third step. This was a joyous occasion for the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan. Not only was Ao Qian the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan's number one genius Divine Dragon, but he was also the son of the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan's right guard elder, Ao Sha. Therefore, Ao Mang's third step Dao validation had invited almost all the famous people of the Heavenly Gate realm to come and support him. The five-clawed Divine Dragon clan palace was built in the center of the Heavenly Man Sea. At this moment, the entire Dragon clan palace was filled with the sounds of congratulations and toasts. More powerhouses had come here not only to attend the banquet for Ao Mang of the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan's third step Dao validation, but also to use this opportunity to make friends with various mighty figures. After the patriarch of the five-clawed Divine Dragon clan, Ao Feng, finished drinking with the guests, he retreated to the main seat. As he chatted with a few big shots, he watched Ao Qian continue toasting the guests with a smile. Perhaps everyone thought that as the leader of the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe, Ao Feng would naturally be the happiest today. Only Ao Feng knew in his heart that although he was happy that Ao Qian had succeeded in creating a world so quickly, he was definitely not the happiest. He was very clear about Ao Qian's aptitude. It was far inferior to his. In other words, the highest realm that Ao Qian could reach was the creation realm, and he would not be able to advance any further in the future. Ao Feng was someone who knew about the creation war. He knew in his heart that with the current strength of the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe, once the second creation war came, they would most likely all be sent to die as cannon fodder. Back then, the ancestral dragon of the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe could not avoid death, let alone these dragon descendants who were countless times weaker than the ancestral dragon. Don't look at how the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe was glorious and enthusiastic now. If they really had to struggle, that would be when the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe reached its peak. If there were no true genius Divine Dragons, the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe would gradually degenerate into an ordinary dragon tribe. Grandson is grateful for patriarch grandfather's nurturing. Today, I succeeded in creating a world. Grandson toasts grandfather. Ao Qian, whose face was slightly red from drinking, picked up his wine cup and came in front of Ao Feng. Ao Feng laughed. Just as he was about to speak, a shrill flying sword shot in like lightning and landed in Ao Qian's hand. Ao Qian's divine sense landed on the flying sword. His hand trembled, and the wine cup also fell to the ground. His slightly red face also turned livid. What's going on? Ao Feng frowned, and his divine sense also landed on the messenger flying sword. My younger sister, Ao Chang, was just killed. Ao Qian clenched his fists, and his whole body overflowed with killing intent. What? Ao Feng jumped to his feet. Although Ao Chang was only at the Dao integration intermediate stage, she and Ao Qian were both descendants of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe's right elder Ao Gu. Ao Gu was powerful and would not be weaker than him. Moreover, Ao Gu only had a son and a daughter. Now that his daughter had been killed, how could he let it go? Not to mention that Ao Gu was not willing to let it go. Even he, Ao Feng, would absolutely not let it go. How dare you kill my younger sister, Ao Chang? I swear I'm not human if I don't swallow you. Ao Meng suddenly turned around, and his killing intent spread out. Ao Feng immediately shouted, Ao Qian, don't be impulsive. Wait for your father to come and we'll go together. After experiencing countless escapes and the sharp decline of his tribe, Ao Feng's temperament had already become extremely cautious. Ao Qian's eyes were bloodshot. He was just about to speak when he heard several loud booms. The five-clawed divine dragon tribe's luxurious palace's defense array was directly blasted open, and the two disciples guarding it were also blasted in. There's no need to look for them. I'm already in. As the voice fell, a man with a well-defined face walked in. After this man, there were two more people. One carried a cyan-long spear on his back, and the other was only a little more than a meter tall. He turned out to be a dwarf. Ao Qian, it's you? Ao Qian saw this man and immediately shouted, Did you kill my sister, Ao Chang? The three people who came in were Ao Qian, Ning Cheng, and Xiao Xinxi. After the three left the Blackwater realm, it took them nearly half a year to reach the Heavenly Gate realm. Even Ning Cheng knew for the first time that the five-clawed divine dragon tribe had moved to the Heavenly Gate realm. Now that Ao Qian was returning to the five-clawed divine dragon tribe to take revenge, he and Xiao Xinxi naturally followed. Because of the sudden intrusion of the three uninvited guests, the entire guest hall was a little chaotic. It wasn't until Ao Qian called out Ao Qian's name that the guest hall gradually quieted down. Most people guessed that this should be the five-clawed divine dragon tribe's own internal affairs. You're Ao Qian? I remember that you don't have 5 claws? How did you reach the third step? Ao Feng looked at Ao Qian in surprise. He also guessed that this was the five-clawed divine dragon tribe's internal affairs. Originally, he didn't want others to know about this. However, now that so many guests had seen it, it would only invite ridicule if he continued to deceive others. Therefore, he simply asked directly. Although he was asking, he was extremely shocked in his heart. The Dragon Clan might have no less than 10 third-step experts, but this was accumulated over tens of millions of years. Ao Qian seemed to only have 4 claws. It wasn't that the descendants of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe didn't have 4 claws, but they had too many. However, he had never heard of a 4-clawed divine dragon reaching the third step until he saw Ao Qian reach the third step today. Then he sighed in his heart. Ao Qian had reached the third step, and so had Ao Qian. This should have been a happy event for the Dragon Clan, but Ao Qian had killed Ao Chang. Even if Ao Qian didn't do anything, Ao Sha would never let Ao Qian go. Ao Qian glanced at clan leader Ao Feng faintly. Whether an itinerant cultivator like me can reach the third step naturally has nothing to do with you, clan leader Ao. As a direct descendant of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe, he couldn't forget what had happened to him. He had been chased out of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe by the clan leader, just because he had used too many cultivation resources. In fact, he now knew that the reason he had been chased out was not because of cultivation resources, but because of the Khanate Dragon Pearl. He guessed that he had been chased out because of Ao Meng's tricks. If he hadn't met Ao Fei previously, he still wouldn't have known that Ao Qian and his sister had killed his mother. Ao Fei was Ao Qian's lackey, Back then, he had thought that he would definitely be able to kill him, so he had revealed the truth. Today, after he had come to the five-clawed divine dragon tribe and seen Ao Chang, he had indeed confirmed that his mother had been killed by Ao Qian and Ao Chang. Ao Qian, since you have already reached the third step of Dao validation, you are the pillar of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe. How can you kill your compatriots the moment you return? Can Ao Chang still be saved? Ao Feng still had a glimmer of hope that he could save Ao Chang, and then everyone would be happy. He knew in his heart that Ao Qian had been chased away unfairly back then because of Ao Qian's tricks. However, if he had gone back to the past, he would have done the same. A genius disciple of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe, and a cripple with only 4 claws. As the clan leader, how could he not know what to choose? Furthermore, this genius's father was the second strongest expert in the dragon clan. Ao Qian simply ignored Ao Feng as he looked at Ao Qian coldly and said, Ao Qian, back then, you tried your best to chase me out of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe. I, Ao Qian, could still live if I wasn't a member of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe. However, you and your sister were vicious. You actually intercepted my mother and me because of a Khanate dragon pearl. You killed my mother. I swore at my mother's grave that I would definitely avenge my mother in this lifetime. Ao Feng sighed in his heart. It seemed like he had to kill Ao Qian. How could he resolve this hatred of killing his mother? Ao Qian was too ruthless. Ao Qian's mother was his aunt after all. No, Ao Qian mentioned the Khanate dragon pearl just now. At the thought of this, Ao Feng immediately looked at Ao Qian and asked, Ao Qian, did you really get the Khanate dragon pearl? After Ao Qian sensed Ao Qian's Dao runes and strength, he knew that if his father didn't come, he probably wouldn't be able to kill Ao Qian alone. Moreover, Ao Qian had 2 helpers. Clan leader, I didn't get the Khanate dragon pearl. Ao Qian's words were true. He was indeed very sullen. Ao Qian wasn't wrong. Ao Qian's mother was killed by his sister and his sister. Unfortunately, he didn't manage to snatch the Khanate dragon pearl. Instead, it was snatched away by a bastard that he didn't even know. Who dares to kill my daughter? This lord will peel off your skin and swallow you. Following a roar, a muscular man in a gray robe rushed into the guest hall. Ao Feng sighed in his heart. Since Ao Qian was here, this matter wouldn't be resolved easily. It's you, you little bastard. I will kill you. The moment Ao Qian entered the hall, he saw Ao Qian. He immediately roared and pounced at Ao Qian. Chapter 1344. Ao Sha was an expert who could fight against a merging realm expert. Even though Ao Qian had reached the 3rd step of the creation realm, Ao Sha did not take Ao Qian seriously. Before he reached Ao Qian, he threw a punch at Ao Qian. In his opinion, even if Ao Qian was at the creation realm, he would be severely injured by his punch. Why would he need to use his magic treasure to deal with a mere Ao Qian? Ao Sha did not use his magic treasure, and neither did Ao Qian. He also took a step forward, followed by a punch. Boom! After the 2 fists collided, a violent Dao Rhyme law power exploded in the Dragon Clan's huge palace. The aura of Dao Rhymes directly shattered the defensive array of the palace, and the magnificent inner hall was also blasted into pieces and collapsed. The guests in the inner palace stepped aside. Those with lower cultivation would be severely injured if they were to be affected by such a powerful Dao Rhyme attack. Ao Sha was counterattacked by the huge Dao Rhyme power. He no longer had the valiant aura from before. Instead, he took a few steps back. Ao Qian also took a few steps back. However, he attacked from the back and it was a defensive attack. In comparison, Ao Qian had the upper hand. Ao Sha looked at Ao Qian in shock. He did not expect Ao Qian to be on par with him when he had just reached the creation realm. After this punch, the violent murderous intent in his heart calmed down instantly. What shocked him more was not that Ao Qian was so powerful, but that Ao Qian's Dao Rhyme power contained the most ancient chaotic energy of the 5-clawed divine dragon clan. That was the aura of the 5-clawed divine dragon clan's ancestral dragon. However, the ancestral dragon had fallen after the first creation war, and not even his corpse was left. How could Ao Qian possess the ancestral dragon's Dao Rhyme aura? Not only Ao Sha, but Ao Feng also felt the Dao Rhyme aura from Ao Qian's punch. It contained the most ancient ancestral dragon Dao Rime aura of the five-clawed divine dragon clan. He was not the one who attacked Ao Kan. He felt it more deeply than Ao Sha. Back then, he was not qualified to participate in the First Creation War. However, he had felt the powerful aura of the ancestral dragon clan from afar. A thought that even Ao Feng could not believe came to his mind. Ao Kan had obtained the ancestral dragon's inheritance and entered the third step of the creation realm as a four-clawed divine dragon. If Ao Kan had obtained the ancestral dragon's inheritance, he would not be allowed to leave the five-clawed divine dragon tribe no matter what. At this moment, the destruction of the inner hall of the five-clawed mystical dragon tribe was actually the smallest matter to Ao Feng. Not to mention the palace of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe, even if Ao Sha's daughter was killed, it would still be a small matter in the face of the ancestral dragon's inheritance. Ao Kan, you are a direct descendant of the five-clawed divine dragon clan. I hope that you can return to the five-clawed divine dragon clan. As for other matters, we can discuss them slowly. Ao Feng didn't even consider Ao Ji's intentions and took the initiative to say this. Ao Sha's face was calm, and he did not refute Ao Feng's words. He knew very well what Ao Feng meant. At this moment, he also suspected that Ao Kan had inherited the ancestral dragon's legacy. He killed my younger sister Ao Chang. I, Ao Qian, must kill this person. When Ao Qian saw that the patriarch actually had the intention of exonerating Ao Kan, he stretched out his hand, and a white spear appeared in his hand. The long spear was surrounded by Taoist rhymes and filled with killing intent. It was obvious that this was a top-grade Dharma treasure. Ao Sha still did not speak. He also raised his hand and a pitch-black long tendon began to revolve around his body. Although he did not refute Ao Feng's words, he definitely did not want the person who killed his precious daughter to live. Ao Feng could force Ao Kan to hand over the inheritance, but he could not protect Ao Kan's life. Ao Feng stood up. He had decided that under such circumstances, he had to help one side. At this moment, he could only help Ao Sha. Putting aside the fact that Ao Sha was the dragon tribe's right elder, even if he wanted to help Ao Kan would probably not stay in the five-clawed divine dragon tribe. If he wanted Ao Kan to stay in the five-clawed divine dragon tribe, there was only one way, and that was to capture Ao Kan by force. Fellow Taoists of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe, today was supposed to be a joyous occasion. However, I did not expect that the internal affairs of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe would implicate everyone. As a disciple of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe, Ao Kan had already committed a grave offense by openly killing a member of his tribe. After this matter is over, Ao Feng will apologize to everyone. After saying this, Ao Feng waved his hand. Including him and Ao Kan, a total of 13 third-step experts suddenly formed an encirclement. Not only did they surround Ao Kan, but they also surrounded Ning Cheng and Xiao Xinxi. To Ao Feng, Ning Cheng was just an early-stage Dao integration cultivator. As for Xiao Xinxi, she was just at the creation realm. Now that the 13 experts of the dragon tribe had surrounded the three of them, Ao Kan could not escape no matter how powerful he was. Xiao Xinxi pouted in disdain. Originally, he had not planned to take revenge for Ao Kan. He had not expected that they would take the initiative to attack him. Seeing that Ao Feng was about to attack, Ning Cheng suddenly said, "Clan leader Ao Feng, don't blame me for not reminding you. If you don't attack, this is just Ao Kan's personal grievances. If you attack, it is possible that the five-clawed divine dragon tribe will be wiped out." Ao Feng was slightly taken aback when he heard Ning Cheng's words. Then he laughed angrily. A puny Dao integration holy emperor dared to threaten him. The clan leader of the five-clawed divine dragon tribe. I want to see how you can wipe out my five-clawed divine dragon tribe. I, Ao Feng, have lived to this day not because of threats. After laughing angrily, Ao Feng spoke sternly. After saying this, he was about to announce that he would attack when he suddenly heard a faint voice say, "Brother Feng, if I'm not wrong, what this Taoist said is true." If someone else had said this, Ao Feng would have ignored them. However, the person who spoke was Elder Qi Feng of the Duzhen Dao. Not to mention that Qi Feng was an early-stage Unity Realm expert. In terms of strength, he was only slightly weaker than Ao Feng. In terms of cultivation level, he was slightly stronger than Ao Feng. Most importantly, the Duzhen Dao was one of the famous Dao sects in the Heavenly Gate realm. Its reputation was no weaker than the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe. Brother Qi. Ao Feng didn't attack immediately because of Qi Feng's words. Qi Feng didn't bother to greet Ao Feng. Instead, he stood outside the encirclement of the dragon tribe and cupped his fists at Ning Cheng. Qi Feng of Duzhen Dao greets Daoist Ning. Thank you for your magnanimity and mercy. Upon hearing this, Ning Cheng knew that there were people from the Duzhen Dao among the few third-step experts that he and Yemo had let go at the Heavens Beyond Square. Daoist Qi, you're too polite. The principle of Heavens Beyond is that we don't attack people if they don't attack us. Ning Cheng returned the salute calmly. Some people were grateful, and naturally some people hated. He and Yemo had joined forces and killed 8 third-step experts from the Heavens Beyond realm. Only a few had escaped. You're Dao Lord Ning Cheng of Heavens Beyond realm? Ao Feng instantly understood and looked at Ning Cheng in shock. Chills ran down his spine. Among the Heavens Beyond realm experts who had gone to Heavens Beyond realm, no one from the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe had been present. As the clan leader of the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe, how could Ao Feng not know how terrifying Heavens Beyond was? 14 third-step experts from the Heaven's Gate Realm Alliance had gone to Heavens Beyond for revenge, including 4 Integration Realm experts. Even the weakest of the 4 Integration Realm experts was stronger than Ao Feng. In the end, only 5 of the 14 people had returned, including Sang Wanglong, who had gone to Heavens Beyond first. It was said that Ning Cheng and Yemo had shown mercy. Otherwise, none of them would have returned. Now, Ao Feng was going to attack such a person. Just as Qi Feng had said, once he attacked, the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe would indeed be gone. Given Ning Cheng's rumored strength, once he killed the many third-step experts of the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe, how could the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe have the right to establish itself in the Heaven's Gate realm? Ning Cheng was slightly stunned. He was only at the Dao Integration realm. Since when was he called a Dao Lord? He might have been called a Dao Lord in the Great Simplicity realm. In fact, Ning Cheng knew very well that a Dao Lord was completely different from a real Dao Lord. It would not be an exaggeration to say that he was trying to flatter himself. True Dao Lords were all experts of the third step. That's right, I'm Ning Cheng. Clan leader Ao, are you still going to catch me? Ning Cheng looked at Ao Feng and asked calmly. Ao Feng took a deep breath and said to Ning Cheng with cupped fists, Dao Lord Ning must be joking. The five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe has no enmity with Dao Lord Ning. How can we attack Dao Lord Ning? If Ning Cheng hadn't offended too many people in the Heaven's Gate realm, Ao Feng would have even said that he wanted to make friends with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had killed too many experts of the Heaven's Gate Realm Alliance. The five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe shouldn't be close to Ning Cheng. Brother Ao Sha, since this is an internal matter of the five-clawed Divine Dragon tribe, I suggest Ao Ken and Ao Qian settle it. How about we both stay out of it? After Ao Feng knew that Ning Cheng and Ao Ken had come together, he immediately changed his mind and turned to Ao Sha. Ao Sha clenched his fists. He understood what Ao Feng meant. Ao Feng didn't want to offend Ning Cheng, but he also wanted to help him. Ning Cheng's reputation was too great. If he also attacked, it was hard to guarantee that Ning Cheng wouldn't attack. Once Ning Cheng took action, Ao Sha would most likely die. Ao Sha wanted to see Ning Cheng's strength and see if he was as powerful as the rumors said. However, he didn't dare to take the risk. The best way was to let Ao Ken and Ao Qian deal with it alone. Seeing that Ao Sha didn't speak, Ao Feng cupped his fist towards Ning Cheng and asked, What does Dao Lord Ning think? Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. I naturally don't have any objections. As long as others don't intervene, I won't intervene either. Ao Ken will be responsible for his own life and death. Ao Ken had obtained the inheritance of the ancestral dragon, and Ao Qian, like Ao Ken, had just stepped into the third step. In Ning Cheng's opinion, Ao Qian definitely wasn't an opponent for Ao Ken. Since that's the case, then let them do it here. We'll protect the space on my side, but I'll have to trouble Dao Lord Ning to help me with the space on the other side. I'm afraid that the two of them would make too much noise and cause my dragon palace to collapse. Ao Feng quickly spoke up when he heard Ning Cheng agree. Ning Cheng understood Ao Feng's intentions. Most likely, Ao Feng didn't care about the collapse of the dragon palace, but wanted to see his true strength. Since he couldn't challenge Ning Cheng, he decided to use this little trick. Since Patriarch Ao doesn't have any problems, I naturally won't have any problems, Ning Cheng said calmly. Chapter 1345. Without waiting for Ao Feng to protect the space, Ao Qian's white spear had already turned into a white light that swept towards Ao Qian. Ao Qian's magic treasure was also white in color. However, it was not a spear, but a white ruler. When Ao Qian's white radiance swept towards Ao Qian's white ruler also erupted with violent waves. This is the 3 feet of the profound sea? Ao Feng muttered to himself in shock. The 3 feet of the profound sea was a top-grade magic treasure, the ancestral dragon's magic treasure. Now that Ao Qian had the 3 feet of profound sea, Ao Feng was even more convinced that Ao Qian had inherited the ancestral dragon's legacy. Both of their Dao rhymes clashed against each other, and a violent aura burst forth. Ao Feng hurriedly worked with more than 10 third-step experts of the 5-clawed divine dragon tribe to seal the space and block the violent aura from leaking out. Because Ao Qian's 3 feet of the profound sea attracted Ao Feng's attention. It wasn't until Ao Qian and Ao Qian started fighting that he remembered Ning Cheng, who was protecting the other side of the space. Then, just like the other spectators, he was completely stunned. Because Ning Cheng was simply too powerful, the cyan spear that was originally hanging on his back, at this moment, had transformed into a cyan curtain of spear patterns. This patch of green screen spear runes directly blocked the Dao aura of the two of them. No matter how strong Ao Qian and Ao Qian's sacred arts were, their violent energy was unable to spread out. Ao Feng sighed inwardly. He subconsciously glanced at Qi Feng. Fortunately, Qi Feng had reminded him just now. Otherwise, the fate of the 5-clawed divine dragon clan would be unimaginable. Ao Mang and Ao Qian's intense battle didn't last long. In less than half an incense stick's worth of time, a bloody mist erupted from the white light. As the white light disappeared, the 3 feet of sea in Ao Qian's hand also disappeared. Ao Qian's corpse fell on the ground, no longer breathing. With a pale face, Ao Sha carried Ao Qian, and left without saying a word. Ao Feng sighed in his heart. Ao Sha knew that even his own strength was not much stronger than Ao Qian's. Perhaps when Ao Qian and Ao Qian fought, Ao Da had already thought that Ao Qian would definitely die. Big brother, let's go. After killing Ao Chang and Ao Shi, Ao Qian had already taken his revenge. He did not want to stay in the 5-clawed divine dragon tribe at all. Good. Ning Cheng responded and was the first to escape. Watching Ao Qian leave with Ning Cheng, Ao Feng sighed in his heart once again. Even though he was sure that Ao Qian had obtained the ancestral dragon's inheritance, he couldn't ask Ao Qian to stay. He still had some impression of Ao Qian when he was chased away. If this kind of disciple could not advance to 5-clawed, then so be it. It would not be a loss to the 5-clawed dragon race. Only now did he realize that it wasn't just a loss. Perhaps Ao Qian was the only hope of the 5-clawed dragon clan, but Ao Qian was not willing to be a disciple of the 5-clawed dragon clan. Looks like we're in trouble, Xiao Xinqi said with a smile the moment the 3 of them charged out from the heavenly mandala ocean. The Ningqing trio had just rushed out of the heavenly Manluo Sea when nearly 20 people surrounded them, including at least 6 experts in the convergence realm. The leader of the group was a tall man with a faint layer of gold on his face. He was at the late stage of the Unity realm. Daoist Ning, you're really gutsy. You didn't wait for us to go to the beyond of heaven and earth before you took the initiative to come to the Heavenly Gates realm. I am Omo, from Thundersound Valley and the 3rd Dao Lord of the Heaven Gate Realm Alliance. Mu Qiangjue, whom Dao Lord Ning killed, was an elder of my Thundersound Valley. The tall man stared at Ning Cheng and spoke in a cold tone. Ning Cheng had heard of Mu Qiangjue. He didn't kill him but Yemo. He couldn't be bothered explaining. He didn't care if he joined forces with Yemo. I heard there are 2 prodigies of the universe in heaven and earth beyond. One of them is called Yemo, right? I heard you two haven't reached the third step, but your power can instantly kill ordinary creation realm masters. When the two of you combine your 7 bridges mystic arts, you will be invincible. Back then, 14 third step experts from the Heaven Gate realm perished under your 7 bridges divine ability. But Yemo isn't here today. How will Daoist Ning escape from the Heaven Gate realm? After Mu Qiangjue's voice fell, another woman stared at Ning Cheng and spoke with a hint of sarcasm in her tone. Xiao Xian, she was instantly enraged. Xiao Xian, she was treated like air. Ning Cheng waved his hand to stop the furious Xiao Xinxi. At this moment, the guests of the 5-claw divine dragon race also came out of the heaven man Luosi. No one wanted to stay in the 5-claw divine dragon race after such a thing happened. When everyone came out, they saw a confrontation surrounded by killing intent. Everyone knew that some sects of the Heaven Gate realm had come to take revenge on Ningcheng. With this power, it might not be enough to seek revenge in heaven and earth beyond, but it was more than enough to deal with Ningcheng in the Heaven Gate realm. No one wanted to miss such a battle. Everyone watched from afar. Even some people who didn't come to the 5-claw divine dragon race's banquet rushed over due to the killing intent. After Ningcheng stopped Xiao Xinxi's anger, he didn't care about the increasingly powerful killing intent. He glanced at the 19 third step masters surrounding them. More than 10 masters from the Heaven Gate realm went to heaven and earth beyond because they wanted to take it for themselves. Even so, the divine Dao sect lord and I didn't kill them all. The 3 of us were surrounded today, perhaps for revenge, or perhaps for something else. No matter what, I Ningcheng will say it here. Anyone who participated in the siege against me today is my enemy. You're not the only ones who seek revenge every time. I Ningcheng will seek revenge too. After this battle, I will visit those who besieged me one by one. If you still want to fight, then fight. If you don't, then leave. We have nothing to do with each other. Ningcheng knew that although there were 3 people on their side, they were actually weaker than him and Yemo combined. In terms of combat power, they were probably weaker than him and Yemo combined. Yemo's power was definitely stronger than Xiao Xinxi and Aokin combined. Plus, Yemo could use 7 bridges god art with him. If they fought, Ningcheng could probably escape if he wasn't a match. An old fox like Xiao Xinxi would definitely have a way to escape. The only thing he was worried about was Aokan. Because of that, Ningcheng wanted to destroy the opponent's power. After threatening for a while, Ningcheng sound transmission to Xiao Xinxi. Old Xiao, don't worry about anything else. Work with me to kill that Omo first. As long as you can lock that Xiao Xinxi down for a second, I'm confident in killing him. Xiao Xinxi was dazed. Kill Omo first? Omo was a Unity Realm tertiary stage expert. Even if it was a false realm, it was still a Unity realm. Facing such a powerful being, even if he could kill him, it wouldn't be a simple matter. Plus, would the others just watch them fight? Ningcheng said desperately, don't be afraid of getting hurt. As long as you don't die, I have a way to save you. I have truth essence of the universe. I'll give you a drop later. This was Ningcheng's first time in the Heaven Gate realm, but the name of the universe's prodigies had already spread throughout the Heaven Gate realm. Sure enough, after Ningcheng said that he would seek revenge, some of the powerful beings surrounding Ningcheng started to waver. At their level of cultivation, they knew that it might be easy to defeat a powerful being, but it really wasn't easy to kill a powerful being. Hearing that Ningcheng had the quintessential essence of the universe, Xiao Xinxi didn't even answer. Instead, the 5-story 5-colored divine light pagoda smashed towards Omo. He had been through many battles and knew the importance of timing. Under such circumstances, there was no need for Ningcheng to repeat it a second time. Just as Omo was about to make a move, Xiao Xinxi's 5-story divine light pagoda arrived. The light from the 5-layered pagoda turned into 5 beams of light that locked onto Omo. The violent aura of a Taoist rhyme rolled over. Omo felt shocked. He couldn't care less about attacking Ningcheng. Instead, his own Dao charm also started to surge as he tried to break free from the 5 beams of light. Protect me and old Xiao. As Ningcheng spoke, he also shot out a finger. Ningcheng immediately used his law-breaking finger. He wanted to join forces with Xiao Xinshi to kill Omo first. Almost at the same time that Xiao Xinshi and Ning Cheng made their moves, more than a dozen law-based Dao charm lights blasted towards the trio. Boom boom boom. The Dao runes exploded, and the laws became chaotic. A moment ago, they were still in a standoff, but the next moment, they had turned into a chaotic melee. Bang bang. Crack. His protective domain shattered in an instant. Even though Aoken had immediately brought out the 3 feet of profound sea artifact to create a protective domain, he still couldn't block the joint attack of more than a dozen people. Poof! The moment Omo broke free from Xiao Xinshi's lock, Ning Cheng's law-breaking finger broke through all obstacles and directly blasted into Omo's glabella. Omo's fleshly body was like air, completely exploding under this finger. The surviving essence spirit didn't dare to stay here for even a moment. It immediately turned into a ray of light and disappeared without a trace. When Ning Cheng blasted out his law-breaking finger, several beams of light broke through Aokan's protective domain and his own protective domain before blasting into him. While Ning Cheng's bones broke, he also heard Xiao Xinshi suffer the same fate as him. Before the second wave of attacks arrived, Ning Cheng threw out 2 drops of true essence of the universe, one of which he gave to Xiao Xinshi. Xiao Xinshi's body didn't seem as strong as his, and almost collapsed under the bombardment. The powerful restorative aura of the true essence of the universe instantly healed Xiao Xinshi and Ning Cheng's injuries, and stabilized their Dao charm auras. Aoken had only protected his body and didn't participate in the sneak attack on Omo. As such, he suffered the least injuries. They're severely injured. One of the creation realm experts among the 3 people surrounding Ning Cheng had just spoken half a sentence when he suddenly paused. He saw Ning Cheng and Xiao Xinshi recover their auras at the fastest speed. Not only did they not suffer any injuries, but the Dao charm flowing around them had also become even more powerful. All of this happened in just a few breaths, but no one took the initiative to attack. Everyone felt the aura of the true essence of the universe. Ning Cheng also felt slightly relieved. In fact, if he, Xiao Xinshi and Aoken joined forces, it wouldn't be worthwhile to kill Omo first regardless of injuries. Fortunately, they succeeded. Although they didn't kill Omo completely, they had disintegrated this disunited alliance. My Chu clan has no enmity with the mysterious yellow sacred Dao sect. I'm withdrawing. A yellow-haired man was the first to withdraw from the encirclement. With the first one, the second one quickly followed. In just a dozen breaths, only 11 people remained surrounding Ning Cheng's group of 3. Ning Cheng breathed a sigh of relief. Only 11 people remained, including 3 realm-merging realm experts. With such a lineup, even without Aokan, he and Xiao Xinshi could still fight. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.